bá fojú kó ata ẹ lójú. ẹgẹrẹ sí fọ pàṣẹ. ẹ bá fojú kó eruku ata abẹ́ ń bẹ eruku ata tí o ti fojú kó bàbá wà gbogbo Nàìjíríà. ẹ bá fojú kó ata ẹ lójú. ẹgẹrẹ sí fọ pàṣẹ. ẹ bá fojú kó eruku ata abẹ́ ń bẹ eruku ata tí o ti fojú kó bàbá wà gbogbo Nàìjíríà. ẹ bá fojú kó ata ẹ lójú. ẹgẹrẹ sí fọ pàṣẹ. ẹ bá fojú kó eruku ata abẹ́ ń bẹ eruku ata tí o ti fojú kó bàbá wà gbogbo Nàìjíríà. ẹ bá fojú kó ata ẹ lójú. ẹgẹrẹ sí fọ pàṣẹ. ẹ bá fojú kó eruku ata abẹ́ ń bẹ eruku ata tí o ti fojú kó bàbá wà gbogbo Nàìjíríà. ẹ bá fojú kó ata ẹ lójú. ẹgẹrẹ sí fọ pàṣẹ. ẹ bá fojú kó eruku ata abẹ́ ń bẹ eruku ata tí o ti fojú kó bàbá wà gbogbo Nàìjíríà. ẹ bá fojú kó ata ẹ lójú. ẹgẹrẹ sí fọ pàṣẹ. ẹ bá fojú kó eruku ata abẹ́ ń bẹ eruku ata tí o ti fojú kó bàbá wà gbogbo Nàìjíríà.
Májà sálà ń bọ̀ níṣẹ́jú kọ̀ọ̀kan sọ́dọ̀. Gbogbo ẹlẹ́nu kó tọwọ́ ọmọ ìbáṣọ Four, three, two, one.
Wow. It is Wednesday again, and it is the Starr Radio UK. It is Niger Voices, and I say good evening and welcome to those of you that have joined us from different parts of the globe. It is the 12th of April 2023, and we could probably say the first quarter of 2023. My name is OLAMILEKAN, and I welcome those of you that have joined us so far, from Starr Radio UK, and those of you that have joined us on the sister broadcast as well. Shout out first to my producer, Mr. Archie, and likewise Mr. Frank David, the sound engineer, and those that are working behind the scene. It is just coming up to exactly. Shout out first to my producer. Bear with us there. Let's get that audio out. Once again, a very good evening and welcome to the program. The sound engineer and those that are working behind the scene. It is just. Yeah. It is coming up to 7 minutes past, 1800 hours. So for those of you that probably sometimes get confused, with these 24 hours club, it literally means it is just 7 minutes past 6 p.m. local time here in London, England. Precisely London, where we are transmitting from on the Starr Radio UK. It is the same time with Nigeria, and the conversation tonight is discussion on Nigeria. Well, I mean, the program itself, it's all about, the Nigeria, the indigenous people, and so many other things that is happening in Nigeria. But one thing is that, a lot of African countries look up to Nigeria as a country that has a lot of opportunity. Well, I'm not sure whether those opportunity is right there as we speak right now, and I'm going to be telling you all the reason why I have said so. But one thing I can tell you is that maybe for the first time, you've never been here before. It's going to be your first time listening to us. It is 9 o'clock somewhere in United Arab Emirates. It is almost early hours in the morning in Japan and New Zealand. But right now, it is the same time here in London and back in Nigeria as well. There's a lot of conversation tonight, but one thing is that every Wednesday we try to bring you, one of the best conversation, especially, what pertains to 200 million Nigerians, or should we say 60% of Nigerians adults that are currently out of work. So if you're listening to me tonight, I want to get these feelings. How long have you been searching for a job in Nigeria? How difficult is it to get a job? I mean, is it easy after your university, or do you have to get that connection, or do you need to know somebody? Or are you of one that is also thinking, maybe I should the Japa syndrome? I'm going to be talking about the Nigerian debt as well tonight. Very, very important that we discuss that, because as Nigerians are not getting jobs, the government continue to borrow, and I'm talking about, whether this government or previous government. So there's a lot of pressure on the economy of Nigeria as we speak right now. So we're going to be discussing that. So tonight, the focus is all about Nigeria once again. And if you're joining me first time, before I'm going to play my first track, shout out to those of you that have joined us, as we say. Maybe for the first time, we normally try to welcome you into the program, and this is how we do it.
This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK. In your car, at home,
on your smartphone. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone. The best radio show. The best radio show. The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
And that's it. It is the best radio show in London every Wednesday, around the world. And, like I always say, shout out to my family as well. Maybe you are watching me from your smartphone. You can also do so. If you're not aware of that, you can download the Starr Radio apps and you can follow us back to back on that as well.
at home,
On your smartphone.
in your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
in your car,
At work,
at home.
on your smartphone.
And I say good evening and welcome once again. We are also broadcasting 24/7. So if I'm not on Wednesday, tomorrow is the property hour with the K boss man himself. But Monday to Friday, I always also join the morning show team between 11 o'clock, where we look at all the issues affecting, again, Nigerians or Nigeria or the indigenous people as well. I'm going to be talking about, the Biafra government in exile. What does that mean as well? We're going to be getting a little bit sound clip, from the latest, nation broadcast from Simon Ekpa, and I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know. If you're watching me from Africa, you can also remember that this platform, Starr Radio UK, is
Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
And now we come into the conversation. Wednesday, 12th of April, and my name is OLAMILEKAN. Good evening to you, Mr. Tony Aegis. Good evening to you if you're watching me on your state, in Ogun State. If you're watching me from Ekiti State, in Nasarawa, in Bauchi, in Kaduna, in Katsina, or probably from Aso Rock, from the Federal Capital Territory as well. 41% of Nigerians are currently out of job, and they are not likely to get a job. And that means that there's more pressure and there's also tendency for a lot of criminality. One thing I can say is, how long were you looking for that dream job? Remember that we always told, parents, listen to your children. We are the children of we are the leader of tomorrow. I mean, I'm sure you all remember that song. I used to sing that a lot as well. Are we still the leaders of tomorrow for those that believe in Nigeria? Because I have said it clearly, I am not one of those that believe that Nigeria can work. It's just too big. As indigenous people, we are better off to break down Nigeria and then have a better opportunity. We might not have the same view, but again, it is important that as a human being with humanity, we still love everybody. So happy birthday to Adeyinka grandson. It is his birthday today. He's one individual that believe that Nigeria is just too big. We should go back to the regional government, just the way the British kept it, in 1960. But he's also going through his own predicament as we speak right now. But today, being his birthday, from Starr Radio UK, we say happy birthday to Adeyinka grandson. If you're also celebrating your birthday as well, you can let me know. Happy birthday to those of you in the month of April as well. And I know there's a lot of our listeners that are celebrating that birthday as well. 80 students were kidnapped. I'm just giving a quick update before we go into the program as well. If you're not familiar, on Saturday, 80 innocent children were kidnapped from Zamfara State. And as we speak to you today, President Muhammadu Buhari is somewhere in Saudi Arabia. It's going to be his last visit. Also, do you know that President Muhammadu Buhari, according to his media aide Femi Adesina, during an interview he granted some few days ago, literally told us that the president was sick for the first 8 months. So literally, President Muhammadu Buhari was not active. He was probably dormant. Nothing was happening in Nigeria for 8 months. Remember that when Buhari came into power in 2015, a lot of us were concerned because, we couldn't get any cabinet minister for 6 months. The whole reason is Buhari was very, very sick right here in London. He was receiving a lot of treatment. I'm going to be discussing that as well. So President Muhammadu Buhari, 8 months sickness was a setback. How is that to you now? Remember that also last year, 2022, maybe some of you have quickly forgotten about that. 8 months, a lot of Nigerians were kept at home, out of the university, out of the polytechnic, the technical school, and the whole reason for that is education was completely grounded. Are we going to see another ASUU strike in 2023? All this is part of some of the reason why the Yoruba people that are saying that we have been around. I was listening to a very, very short audio clip that I had opportunity when I was in Nigeria, having this conversation father to father, with the leader of the Yoruba self-determination movement, Professor Adebanji Akintoye. And before the end of the program, towards the last hour of the program, we're going to be discussing everything about the Yoruba nation, what you need to know. But one thing I can say is, even though we brought her into this platform to speak to us, I'm talking about Mrs. Modupe Onitiri, we have been told to run away from her. She has done more damage to the movement than actually trying to help the movement. So if anybody has listened to her on our platform 9 months ago, we have been told by the leader of the Yoruba self-determination struggle that Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri has destroyed the movement, but she has not done the damage to that extent, but she has actually put out the notion that the Yoruba people have got a country. We have to tell you, according to today, being the 12th day of April 2023, at exactly 60 minutes past 8 p.m., 60 minutes past 1800 hours, which is the same thing with 60 minutes past 6 p.m. The Yoruba nation is not yet a country. So if anyone have been told, whether you are in Nigeria, whether you are inside the country, whether you are outside the country, you are somewhere in African country, we have to tell you continuously that there is not yet a Yoruba nation country. Please desist from such kind of conversation. And we are also monitoring our conversation in the last couple of days, because she's doing a lot of what could push the Yoruba people to be labeled as terrorist organization. Let me remind you, Professor Adebanji Akintoye has told us that this movement will remain non-violent, and it has been so in the last 3 years. He's still the leader of the Yoruba self-determination struggle, and we are continuing to monitor some of the utterances of Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri, because she's pushing the narrative to where the federal government can easily label us as a terrorist organization. So all that is part of what we're going to be discussing later on. You don't want to miss it as well. 2023, how is the outcome? What is the INEC saying? Where is Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Nobody has been able to hear or have a video clip of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I'm talking about the winner according to INEC, even though Peter Obi and Atiku still wants to challenge it as well. So there's a lot of conversation tonight as well. So you don't want to go anywhere. It's going to be 2.5 hours. It's going to be full boom. This is Starr Radio UK. So Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the last time we saw him was when he was voting in Lagos State during the election of the governorship election. And since then, nobody knows where Bola Ahmed Tinubu is. His media handle told us that Bola Tinubu is doing very well. There's nothing wrong with him, but he's just taking some rest somewhere in Paris, and he's going to be traveling as well to, from there, he's going to be going to Saudi Arabia, maybe to meet Buhari, but we know that President Muhammadu Buhari has left Nigeria. That is going to be his final trip to outside the country before the handover on the May 29, if all goes as planned. Do you also know that according to the Peter Obi handle, Peter Obi was actually stopped in the United Kingdom at the London Heathrow Airport? What was the reason for that? According to his media aid or the media press release that we were told, Peter Obi traveled to London during the Good Friday or the Easter break, and he was stopped by the immigration officer in London at the London Heathrow Airport. And the reason for that is Peter Obi seems, or should I say, there is someone imposing or as an imposter to Peter Obi, and that literally flagged up when Peter Obi arrived in London. What is actually going on in Nigeria? Let's come back to the conversation again. A shout out to you, Just Reason. Just Reason actually said, could there be creating a Tinubu replica already? What do you mean by that? Can you want to expatiate? Maze God, good evening to you. Olakunle, good evening to you. Babatunde, good evening to you. Mrs. Ajoke Olani, Ramadan caring to all our listeners as well. And once again, it is just a lot to discuss. Now, let's come back to the Nigerian student. We do know that Nigerian students are one of the best from what we are told around the world. That is if you are able to leave the offshore of Nigeria. But one thing is that most Nigerians don't have a job. And if you don't have a job, it is a big problem. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And my name is Yomi Koiki. Once again, this is...
Welcome.
So that is the welcome to start the program. Nigerians, I remember there was a job advertisement, I think, with the immigration in Abuja. How many people remember that? And a lot of people eventually died. The number of jobs that was meant to be an advert actually had a lot more than what the job itself was going to. I'm going to bring the information on. Immigration, Abuja student, died in that particular, incident. Once again, that was in 2014, according to the record that we're looking at right here. 2014. So it has been like that even before Buhari came to power, that there has been so many Nigerians that do not have jobs. But one thing is, how do you get a job, or how do we say Nigerians can get a job if situation in the country where there is no production going on and there is no opportunity? Good evening to you, Ajayi Gabriel. Good evening to you, our mother, a grandmother, Mrs. Bimbola Ayedun. Good evening to you, Mrs. BC Makojola, and the rest of you that have joined me tonight. And let's go into the program. Good evening to you, Mommy Esther. Good evening to you, Adeni Adejubril. Shout out to you from Dubai. Shout out to you from Côte d'Ivoire in Benin Republic with Sunday IGBOHO, and likewise Professor Adebanji Akintoye and the rest as well. Why do we have high number of Nigerians without jobs? What is the reason? Is it because the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is not putting the policy to allow individuals that might want to create job environment for Nigerians? Or is it that the policy is just not there? Why do we have millions of Nigerians coming out of the university and they do not have the job as well? Shout out to you, Larry Lamina is actually watching right directly on the YouTube channel of Starr Radio UK, and the rest of you that have joined me as well this evening. Once again, Nigerian unemployment rate is now about 41%. Should we be concerned? And do you think that the new government coming in of President Bola Tinubu, that is if he becomes the president finally on the May 29th, because he's still currently just president-elect, what is he going to do differently from the same political party that is just taking a new system, or should we say is taking over from the President Muhammadu Buhari? For 8 years, President Muhammadu Buhari could not drop down the numbers of unemployment in Nigeria. According to the KPMG, that released the information some 72 hours ago, we are meant to have up to 4 to 5 million Nigerians getting into the job market on a yearly basis. But that is not happening. Even those that are selling what we can call worobo, you're probably selling the, pure water, you're selling the gala, or you are just, waking up every morning, you put on the suit, you get out to the, to submit your CV, and nobody's going to give you a job. Adios, Shonjimo, a very shout out to you, and welcome to the program. Once again, my name is OLAMILEKAN, and this is Starr Radio UK, and this is how we do it every Wednesday. Dash Mayor says Ekweto. Bonsoir, Olakunle Aziz Shakiru. Welcome to the program. I'm going to try to find from your conversation, from your comments, why is it that Nigerians do not have the job of their dream? I mean, if you want to be a mechanic, are you going to become a mechanic? Let us also remember that somebody like, the late Tolulope Arotile was the very best student and also one of the best we can talk about when it comes to the Nigerian Navy. The Nigerian Air Force, because she was the first Nigerian helicopter pilot combat, but she eventually died in that Kaduna, where she actually died. That is somebody that lost a job. Not only lost a job, we lost her as well. Let's talk about Bamishe. Bamishe was killed on the BRT in Lagos State. Let us remember that she was only 20-something years old. Bamishe died on her way from work that the government never supported in the first place. She got into the public transport of the Lagos State, and she was eventually killed by the driver. And today, we still don't have justice for Bamishe. That is two. Let's talk about Jumoke Oyeleke. Jumoke Oyeleke was again killed by the Lagos State government when it comes to the police commissioner. And then, I'm talking about the Lagos State, police, because during the Yoruba rally on July 2021, on the 3rd of July, just about 72 hours before then, Chief Sunday IGBOHO house was almost assassinated by the federal government, but he whisked by just escaping death. But on that Saturday, Jumoke Oyeleke, that just sells a goods of less than 5,000 naira, was killed by the government police straight bullet. We've lost 3 individuals in the space of 3 years. That for one reason or the other, one seems to be working with the government. I'm talking about Tolulope Arotile, but she died right inside the government building in Kaduna. Jumoke Oyeleke she's not getting anything from the federal government. She's actually getting nothing. But she was eventually killed right inside the Lagos BRT transport. Jumoke Oyeleke, Bamishe was killed in the Lagos transport as well, while Jumoke Oyeleke was killed the year before that. And there has been so many Nigerians that also get killed, on a daily basis, because there is no country this is a country that doesn't respect human rights. We talked about that, before in one of our programs. But what I want to get out from these new report is that the new government coming into power, I'm talking about, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Should Bola Tinubu becomes officially the president on May 29, will he be able to reduce the job market for the Nigerians? Because we know that for you, Clement actually said Tinubu will not survive no more than 1 year. Bet you on that. I'm happy to say that. I'm glad this will lead to the end of the zoo called Nigeria. Saeed Jimo, good evening to you. And shout out once again to those of you on the MixLR. Daniel said, well, that's probably in the morning. So I don't want to read. I think that's probably in the morning. Say good morning. So let's come back to the conversation once again. My name is Olamileka, and I say shout out to those of you. Mr. Kennedy says good morning or good evening rather. Olu Olawale is saying Ekweto, Yoruba nation no going back. Lekan Ladipupo, good evening to you. Sunday Adebanjo, welcome to the program. But Damosi Smiler, Mrs. Eunice, I say welcome to the program and a very good evening to you, Ms. Gold. 5 million Nigerians are meant to be going into what they call the new entrance. When you're going to the university, they call you JJC, new entrance. So, according to KPMG, the report says that last year, 37.7% of Nigerians in 2022 were unemployed. But you would expect that, in the 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari and the APC government, that should have dropped down to at least maybe 35, at least, give and take. But rather, it has gone up by 40.6%. That is almost about 4%, increase. So literally, what we had was we already have 37% of Nigerian youth, or should we say the labor market, that do not have a job. So rather than letting that to drop down, it's going further up again. And my question tonight is, are we going to see a new change? Oh, should I say next level? No, I think Emilokan was what Tinubu was using. Is Emilokan? A very good evening to you, our daddy John Ogundele, and welcome to the program. Olakunle said there is no amount of patching and stitching that will make Nigeria escape a breakup. The zoo will definitely fall. But before the zoo will fall, are Nigerians likely to get a job? I mean, let's talk about the Nigerians. I'm talking about those that still believe that Nigeria can still work. It is just that, there is no good leadership and all that. But today, according to KPMG, you will not get a job in Nigeria. Maybe if you get to Ghana, if you get to Cote d'Ivoire, if you're likely to get to South Africa, or if you get to Europe, Asia, or any other part of the continent, then you might have something to do. But if you're still a Nigerian, you are part of those that are being calculated as 40.6% due to the continued inflow of job seekers into the job market. So you completed your university, good evening to you, Grandma Lee Ajayi. You went on to say, equate to White Lion, the Lord will continue to strengthen you, your Yoruba nation, not going back. Omotayo Atowoju Ogbeson, good evening to you. Lekan Ladipopo, shout out to those of you that are watching us from the southeast of Nigeria as well. Good evening to those of you in Benue State. We are very, very concerned. I'm going to be discussing that. The Boko Haram terrorists are back on the loose again. It seems that somebody locked them down, and just after the election, they are back again. The kidnapping have started and the killing as well. And like I said earlier at the beginning, 80 innocent children. Did I say 80? I think about 87, because the list came out that I have with me. 87 innocent children from the age of 12 years old to 17 years old were all kidnapped in Nigeria. And as we speak to you today, the federal government doesn't seem to be concerned to try and find them, or at least do what they call rescue and search to get them back to their loved ones. And all this is happening. Shout out to those of you in Naija area. Shout out to those of you in Lagos Island. And a good evening to you, Mr. Yemi Patuke. So, as I continue with the program tonight, I'm asking the question. Once again, a very shout out to my producer, Mr. Frank David. This is Starr Radio UK. This program comes up every Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. when we look at all the issues that have been faced by Nigeria and is still being faced by Nigeria as we speak to you today. Let's take our first musical break. As I always say, we have a lot to discuss, but one thing is, Nigerians will have to decide whether they want Nigeria or not, or whether they want something different. And this first track, as we call it, Arabani. Arabani means something that will not die. As you kill Bola Ige, you cannot kill Sunday Igboho. As you kill Tolulope, you cannot kill Dr. Oloye Sunday Igboho. As you also kill Dele Giwa, you cannot kill Sunday Igboho. Let's listen to the first track. I'll come back in a minute. For those of you that do not understand the language, she's just singing in the praise of the man of the people, the man that is well loved. Not just Oloye Sunday Igboho, we also love Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and we continue to ask the federal government to respect a prisoner of conscience that has been kept in there going to 2 years now. What is the Amnesty International doing in terms of all this kidnapping? The pressure should continue. We must hold the federal government accountable for so many innocent deaths in Nigeria. Next month, Ike Kerebadu and the wife will be sentenced, by the British court here in London. We're going to be telling you everything, and we might be transmitting from there on the Friday when Ike Kerebadu will be sentenced. And behind there in the camera is one of those that got killed as Nigerian student or a Nigerian worker. That is Bamishe on the left, and that was the driver that was driving the BRT bus. We believe she was also raped before she was eventually killed. I say a very good evening once again to our brother there, Ayomiku, and you went off say Tinubu. I'm going to read that in just about a minute. I think I lost that. We're going to get that in about a minute. Let's go with the first comment as well. Folarunsho Omola says, Mr. Koiki, Tinubu have nothing to offer Yoruba land because Nigerian constitution will not allow that. A shout out to all the Biafra, shout out to all the freedom lovers. This is one Nigeria. I'm talking about the young female there. She was killed in Lagos State. She was a fashion designer. We lost one here already. This song is all about Sunday IGBOHO. Is like praising him, saying that we cannot afford to lose somebody like that, and we're gonna get the engineer to give us the picture of Oloye Sunday IGBOHO and Mazi, Nnamdi Kanu. Ayomiku said Tinubu can never change the problem. There will be more unemployment in no good plans for the private sector. Who actually employ? Is it the private sector or the government? Bonsoir, Mr. Adeni Igimo. You also went out to say koikimedia keep on move to Yoruba People's Nation. Once again, shout out to the Biafra as the government in exile has been kicked off. We're going to be hearing more about that during the Indigenous Nation conversation. But for now, we are talking to all the Nigerians that 40% of you will not get a job in 2023. A very good evening to you and welcome to the program as well. And likewise, our mother, Mrs. Elizabeth Adeshina, say, Olakunle Omomi Koiki and his team, you are all blessed. We love you all. Adebanjo also went on to say the zoo country Nigeria is not for the Yoruba, the Igbo, or the Hausa. Nigeria is for the British Business Center. Do you believe that? She's actually saying that is it good that the Hausa Fulani continue to kill us, and as we speak to you right now, 80 innocent children were kidnapped from Zamfara State on Saturday, and nobody have done what they call search and rescue. Where is the Nigerian military? Where is the Nigerian police? Where is the Air Force? Why are they not out there? Where is the DSS? Dennis, our father, Dayo Omitogun, went on to say, up Oduduwa Republic, up Yoruba Nation. Yoruba Nation now. Yoruba Nation is a reality and the only solution. Shout out to those of you in Australia and likewise those of you in Austria. Yoruba Nation is a movement and that movement continue. And like we always say, deceit from what Mrs. Modiponitiri is saying that she has declared Yoruba Nation. That is a complete lie. No nation has been declared yet. Yoruba Nation is still ongoing. In just about another 30 seconds, we're going to go straight back into the conversation. 5 million Nigerians are meant to be going into the job market every year, and that doesn't seem to be happening. Pa Ayo Adebanjo at 95 went ahead to say, Nigeria's struggle continue. Happy birthday to you, our own Baba. I had a privilege to meet him in Nigeria when I traveled about a year and a half ago. He says, and I quote, Nigeria will continue with the struggle because Nigeria belongs to every one of us. Do you think that the father, the leader of the Afenifere, the Yoruba social political, no, did I say political? I don't think so. The Yoruba social cultural group went ahead to say during his birthday that Nigeria's struggle continue. Is 95 years old, but Nigerians will not get a job. I'm talking about 40.6% of you will not get a job in 2023, according to KPMG. Welcome to the program, Waris Jinodu. Clever Ayomide, you say, keep on the good job, sir. I say thank you as well from Starr Radio UK. At this segment of the program, at about 20 before 7 p.m., we're discussing the unemployment rate in Nigeria and are we likely to see any changes when Buhari leaves and Bola Tinubu becomes president fully on May 29. According to Let's Go Later Music, we're going to come back to that music later on. Choosing Owase for Tinubu, he can never get anything right in that country, Nigeria. He's going there to enrich himself and more. It seems that Tinubu is in a big problem because as a lot of you are saying there, it seems Tinubu will not be able to do anything. Shout out to all the Yoruba world media and the 40 media that can never be wrong when it comes to the conversation of the Yoruba nation struggle. We're going to come back to that. Let's take you back to the real conversation. Unemployment. Why is it that there is so much unemployment in Nigeria today? Why has President Muhammadu Buhari for 8 years not been able to reduce the volume, the numbers of Nigerians that are meant to be having jobs? What has this government done wrongly? That is Buhari. He has actually traveled out of Nigeria, and that means that the vice president was the one in charge of the fake meeting that took place in Abuja today. What should the government of President Muhammadu Buhari should have done differently to make sure that Nigerians have that job at least year after year in the last 8 years? So I'm not too sure because I don't have the real data with me what the percentage, maybe I might look that up. What was the percentage of the job of the unemployment before Buhari came in 2015? So I'm going to go back to 2014 unemployment rate in Nigeria, and that is the only way we can find out whether Buhari did his best to add to the market rate or he has actually not done so. So according to what I have here, going back by the information, and I'm taking you back now to 2012, which will give us at least an idea, or should we say, let's go back to 2014, a year so that we can be very, very fair on President Muhammadu Buhari, whether it is the fault of Buhari government or the fault of the PDP that was there for 16 years and never did anything to make sure that a lot of Nigerians will get a job. Good evening to you, Babatunde. Shout out to you, a big sister and auntie, and I hope grandma is doing very well. I'm talking about Mrs. Bemileke. Good evening to you, Alex Mamu. Say, great job, my brother. Akim also went on to say, good evening, brother. Well done and keep doing the good work. May God bless you and continue empowering you, inshallah. And I say shout out to you as well. Keep the comment coming. I'm going to be reading a lot of your comment because it is important that I read those comments out because you are the one going to tell me, is Buhari government done enough to make sure that a lot of you have a job? Because we are concerned when Nigerians don't have a job. If you don't have a job, that means you don't have any money, and money is very, very important. I mean, you need a job to get the money. You need to do a job, and then you get paid, whether it's 30,000 naira according to the government, the basic pay for those of you working with the civil, the state and the federal. And if you're working in the private sector, how much is your pay in the public sector? How much is your pay in the private sector? And if you're running your own business, how much do you think that you earn every month? And I want to read that as well. How much do you think you take home? I mean, in UK here, if I'm doing a waiter job or a waitress job, or as a waiter, not a waitress because I'm a man, I'll probably be making about £1,760 every month. That is if I'm working as a waiter. I can make at least about 1,700, and that is without any overtime. Let's not talk about that in exchange rate to Nigeria, because we're living in two different countries. But those of you watching me in Nigeria, how much is your payroll? Èló ni ẹ ń gbà ní oṣù ní ìwọ tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ ìjọba, àbí ìwọ tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ ti private sector, àbí ìwọ tó ń ṣe okòwò? Èló ni o máa ń rí pa ní oṣooṣù? Because that is the only way we can know. But I want to take you back to 2014. More than 17 million Nigerians have become unemployed as at 2014. Wow. By 2014 August, according to the report by the KABIRU, more than 17 million Nigerians have become unemployed. So what you do is you wake up every day, you are there on the street, you become hoodlums, or you become a nuisance, or you become one of those IGBOHO, or you become one of those thugs working for the politician, committing all kind of crime, or you become part of the Yahoo boys and girls, or you become what they call the Olosho, or you might probably have to run out of Nigeria to Libya. A very shout out to you, our mother Adenike Adeyemo, and welcome to the program. My name is OLAMILEKAN, and again, this is Starr Radio UK. When was the last time you tried to get a job in Nigeria and that job got to you? Whether it's just a basic job in the hotel, whether it's just a cleaning job, by the Lagos State, or do you have to lobby to get that job? How easy is it to get a job in any part of Nigeria today? I want to read the comment. Shout out to you, our father again, John Ogundele. Once again, the comment keeps coming. Keep the comment coming. I'll be reading it. Olanewaju Arowolo says, shout out to you as well. Good evening to you. We all need this money. This is the naira, apart from the dollar and the Benin Republic money as well. Everybody in this world needs at least a little bit so that you become out of the poverty rate according to the United Nations. What is your standard of living? Those of you in Nigeria, I understand a lot of Nigerians want the best for the country. Nobody's doubting that. But according to KPMG, a lot of you are not likely to be employed because the federal government of President Muhammadu Buhari has not put in the mechanism, has not put in the policy to allow private sector to get into the country where there is insecurity. Imagine if a farmer that is employed by a private sector in Zamfara State and they get kidnapped. And we see that all the time. Foreigners also get kidnapped. We've seen that a lot in Nigeria. Do you think that any investor will come to Nigeria? Remember that the federal government as well is not very good when it comes to freedom of speech, because President Muhammadu Buhari actually shut down Twitter for almost 6 to 7 months. That is not good for business. And all this is part of the projection that some of us are saying that, is it going to be worth being in a country that is so big, but you don't have a job, you don't have a good health care, you don't have education? 7 to 8 months last year, a lot of you were out of school. A lot of Nigerians wants to get that education, but you keep getting that education, but there's no job. So as a nurse, you've studied nursing for 4 to 4 years or 5 years, depending on the strike, and you come out and you end up become a skit maker. You become a comedy maker. A lot of Nigerians are now doing, do you know the new game they're doing now? You keep throwing the bottle. Can I get a bottle, please? They keep throwing the bottle, and they have a bottle, I need a bottle to do a demonstration. So everybody has now become a skit maker or a comedian, or producing one comedy, and then everybody laughs. There's no scientist. There's no one helping us. Bottle flip. Yes. So this is a bottle, and this is a new game in Nigeria. I don't know where they get this game from, but it seems that everybody, and there's another one that keeps spinning. They put the pepper there, they put onion, they put money, and everybody's doing like that. I don't want to break my computer. And let's see if I can get it right. Let me try. Let's give it a go. And everybody's laughing. Oh my God, let's give it a go again. Let's try again one more time. Oh no, one more time. Oh, clap for me. What do I win? I think I won 500 naira. And that is what Nigerians are doing today. When your youth outside Nigeria are playing football, they are becoming something. In 2014, according to the cable, 17 million Nigerians were out of job. No job for you. And they are eating fufu. Some of them eat fufu. And it's quite funny. I mean, you know, you can sit down there and laugh. And there are some of them that are very good. You know, I do watch some of them. Sabuni is very good. You know, I think there's another guy on Instagram. I do follow them as well. But is that going to be the job market? Some of you are struggling to get into, thank you so much, you know, D_, they are the real none. Shout out to those of you, you know, Comrade Plan B says, media are cashing out shamelessly. You also went on to say, I saw Omiyale at the filling station at Mokola around 2 weeks ago, riding a Lexus Jeep. I shook my head. What a shame. Well, we can't blame them. They don't want to be part of Yoruba Nation anymore. They've become part of Tinubu's state. There's nothing we can do. That is life. So we just have to leave them alone and let them become the real politician. At least he has a job to drive a Lexus 300. At least somebody is funding it. Climate said, no such thing as straight bullet. Officers are trained to handle the weapons professionally. Keep the comment coming. I'm reading all your comments. Ayomi Kundamiju went on to say, Nigeria breeding clown. I mean, I love the game. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to try it one more time. Do you think I'm going to win? I have 500 naira here. Then I have pepper there. I have another thing there. And then you do like that. Oh no. And this is what Nigerians are doing in 2023. And you can see the president there. In the next 6 to 7 weeks, Buhari will be going. Tinubu is likely to come in. We don't know yet, depending on the outcome of Peter Obi case. Remember, I told you that Peter Obi was stopped here in London Heathrow Airport because the immigration believed that somebody was representing, or somebody like an imposter, according to his media aide. Olakunle said, come and see grassroots footballers in Nigeria begging for transport fare every bus stop after each training day. Wow. So my question is, let's go back to look at the cable. And this article is on the August 14, 2020. That was before Buhari came to power. So the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, says 21.76 million Nigerians are now unemployed. Wow. According to his labor force statistic that was statistics report released on Monday, the number of unemployed Nigerians went from 20.93 million in 2018 to 21.76 million in the second quarter of 2020. This means that more than 17 million Nigerians have become unemployed since December 2014, while the total working age population has grown by almost the same number in those 6 years. Let's go further. For the first time in the history of the reverse NBS unemployment report, the number of people in the labor force willing to work have dropped. So as much as a lot of you wants to work, I mean, it's not your fault. It's the fault of the government that does not provide, you know, the enabling environment that would have allowed you to get a job, that would have allowed you to have that dream job, whether in the private sector as a banker, whether as a mechanic, whether as a cleaner, whether as a researcher, whether as a marketer, advertiser, whatever, as a doctor. Do you also know that the United Kingdom, for those of you that were planning, thinking that you had that window opportunity to get to UK as a care worker, I'm sorry to give you the sad news. The UK government have now put Nigeria on the red list. So that has been halted. So you will not be able to use that route anymore to get to UK with your family. A lot of people were able to get in time. I don't know the reason why, but the UK government is saying the reason is we don't want to take all the brain drain out of Nigeria. Maybe that is good, at least. Not good because there's no job in the hospital or the care industry. We don't have care industry in Nigeria anyway. But the UK has the percentage of elderly people between the 70 years old up to 90, and somebody must look after them. And that is the reason why Nigeria was included in the first place, so that you can get to UK on a full-time job, very hard work. Listen to all our mothers and fathers that got this job, and you will understand. For those of you Sheshede, those of you newcomer that just arrived in UK, and you're already complaining. One of our auntie called this morning and told me that Ìyá Ìjẹ̀bú called me and said, Koiki, àbúrò mi tó dé mà ti ń complain pé iṣẹ́ care worker tóun ṣe yóò máa dà. That is the money that your auntie was using to send money to you now, that job. That job is what your auntie was using to buy you after sleeping with your wife and you are pregnant and you go to baby, and then you want to do ikomo and you start pressurizing your auntie. Your auntie is doing that, go job and send you the money. So a lot of you that have arrived, you better be careful. At least you did not get a job in Nigeria. You got a job here now, you're already complaining. Ìyá Ìjẹ̀bú was telling me that somebody that just arrived in London is already complaining about the care job that they got for him or her that got him to London. Star Radio UK. D_the real norm say, Koiki, I tried the game alone last night too, laughing at myself. Maybe we should try one more time. Do you think I can win? Yes or no? How many people think that if I split this, it's going to be yes? Just put it there. And how many people say, no, you're going to miss out? And if I miss out, that means I cannot get the 500 naira. How much is 500 naira today in Nigeria? Is a lot of money. It can take you from Oshodi to Mushi. Because if you don't have 500 naira, you get on that transport, you will have a big fight. Oh, sorry, you've been walking. We are talking about something that is affecting a lot of Nigerians, but it seems that Nigeria has become a comedy platform. Everywhere now, everybody's just playing that skit. And some of the skit that you watch, some of them could give you a little bit of concern because nobody's controlling it. Everybody just wake up one day and then they do something and then later on they say it's a skit. And we saw Ijoba Lande become very stressed out, going into depression because the wife thought Ijoba Lande was making maybe a lot of money and she wanted to move to Lekki according to the story. Oh my God, what is going on in Nigeria? More comment is coming through. Mr. Koiki, after 8 years, Tinubu will leave the president post and at least maybe reduce the job ratio. What do you think? Do you think that Tinubu will be able to reduce the job ratio that his government of Buhari has actually put Nigeria to about 40.6%? It's just about 2 minutes before 7 p.m. This is a very, very difficult conversation, but it has to be said that Nigerians are waking up every day and you don't have a job. So who then take care of you? Because we know that there is no benefit system in Nigeria. Fọlọ́runṣọ́ went on to say that leave president post and the Fulani will take over again. So where the Yorubas will go back to the bondage again, let's act fast now before it is too late. Millions of Yoruba people are pained. Do you agree with that comment? Keep your comment coming. I'm going to be reading them out. My name is OLAMILEKAN. Adetutu, our mother says, well done, sir. I say thank you so much. Adebanjo say, koikimedia, this fake Buhari will run after May 29 out of the zoo country, Nigeria. Wait, bye. Mrs. Esther say, I'm even looking for such opportunity and someone who have it complain. What a pity. Yeah, I mean, Ìyá Ìjẹ̀bú called us this morning. I did a program at the early hours of this morning, and Ìyá Ìjẹ̀bú told me that, Yomi, somebody that arrived in London is already complaining about the job that he got from Nigeria with a permit of giving, because not everybody have opportunity. Some of you that come to UK with a visiting visa, you are not allowed to work. So if you get to UK with a work permit, it's a bonus. But this person is already saying, I'm sure some of you are like, Koiki, what's that? In our language, Yoruba, the most beautiful language in the world, we normally say something owó ìgbẹ́, owó, at least, owó is money. Ìgbẹ́, I can say, the second one you do when you go to toilet. I don't want to give you the whole description. There's number one and there's number two. So the number two is they call Igbe. So this Nigeria brother or sister that got to UK is already complaining that the Igbe, which is the Igbe, is not concerned about the money now, but is concerned about the Igbe that is cleaning in the care home, is smelling, and maybe might get another job. But he's not going to get another job because nobody's going to give him a sponsorship to get another job. Because the reason why you got to UK in the first place was because the UK needed you, but right now Nigeria is now on the red list. So nobody is going to get a job on the care work level from Nigeria according to the government. I don't know whether the UK government will have a new relationship with the new incoming government, and that might change. But as of today, no Nigerians will get to UK looking for care job anymore. And it's a great opportunity because a lot of people can come with their family. But this person did not have a job in Nigeria. He was part of those that never got a job. But he's here in UK now. He's already complaining. Olakunle say, if I see that opportunity last song, I will even help the person clean his or her nyash. Well, you have to do that because if somebody poo-poo, you have to clean the, we don't want to go into too much details. Bàbá wa John sọ pé gbogbo àwọn oníjẹkújẹ adarí orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà, ṣùgbọ́n mo mọ̀ pé Olúwa lọ́lọ́run fún wa ní orílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Is actually saying that a lot of the politicians are the major obstacle why Nigerians did not get what they want. What an interesting time to be alive. So I'm still looking at that information from 2014. Then we go back again slightly into the 2023, the latest update. 40.6% of Nigerians. I don't know what that means in terms of the total number. Maybe we might find out in the next few, conversation. So, if Assad I think we have more data here that we can work with. Interesting. Now, I want you to work with me, and the engineer is going to bring that on the screen behind me, and we can work with that as well. Once again, this is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. My name is OLAMILEKAN, and I'm going to be your host up to 8:30. So what you're looking behind me right now is like the information that gives us a background up to 2014 to 2020, how many Nigerians did not get that dream job. So as the engineer has given us that information now, let us work with it. Once again, I say good evening and welcome to the program. My name is OLAMILEKAN, and we are still right here discussing Nigerians without a job in 2023. So if you look at that record behind me, you can tell that in 2014, we had the number of unemployment in millions. That's about 4.67 million. Number of underemployed. Okay. Number of unemployed in 2014 was 4.67 million. Number of underemployed is 13.5 million. Now, going to 2016, rather than the number reduce, the number is going up again. Thank you so much, Ms. Gold. Ìyàwó Esther sọ pé nítorí Ọlọ́run with her hand up like that pé tèmi dẹ̀ láwọn ẹbí mi tí mo fẹ́ kó wọ UK èèyàn kan tó dé UK ó tún complain pé òun kò gbẹ̀. What an interesting time to be alive, When Iya Jebu was calling me this morning and she was telling me, I was just shaking my head that new entrance to UK did not get a job for probably maybe 10 years before he got to UK, and he's already complaining. Maybe he wants to buy some better, I don't know, maybe he wants to build a house in Lekki. I don't know. But in 2016, we know that the information went up again, where about almost 11.68 million of Nigerians were out of job. You would think that President Muhammadu Buhari, now that we have a data to work with, so if I move slightly like this, you can tell that in 2018, from this information that the number started going up in the space of 2 years. In the space of 2 years, President Muhammadu Buhari could not reduce the job ratio of Nigerians looking for job, rather it doubled up. So it went up to 20.97 million of you without a job. And that number went up again slightly in 2020, which is about 3 years ago now. So if I increase that 2020 a little bit up, so let's move this up a little bit, and you could tell that Nigerians have been looking for a job, but the job is not there. So in 2020, according to the information that we have there, we can tell that 21 million Nigerians did not get a job. And these are so many reasons. Adebanjo Sunday went on to say, the blood of innocent is the one that scattered the judge. Nigeria, okay? Nigeria will happen to you. Praying for one Nigeria, your life will be like Nigeria. Ni Ashe Eledumare. Good evening to you, Mr. Adewale Adeyemi. And welcome to the program, Mrs. Omolara Iyabo-Ajala, and welcome to the program, those of you as well. So my question to those Nigerians tonight is, how likely are you going to search for that job, and what is the tendency? Are you going to go to the church to pray? Are you going to go to the mosque, or are you going to visit those traditional, institutions where they can do those little things, and then you're going to get the dream job? Or are you looking to travel out of the country? And these are some of the reasons why those that are saying that this country is not going to work. I was looking at an information, like I said, remember that today is Adeyinka grandson's birthday. And he was actually putting the projection out there in one of his pages that I was looking up to this morning. And it says, and I quote, 8 million people live in London. I'm not talking about the whole of England, London. And it's actually generating about $800 billion. Is it 800 billion? Well, 800 billion, whether it's Naira or, I can't see, because he didn't put whether it's Naira or dollar. But Lagos State with about 20 million people cannot produce more than 200 billion. So is it that when we are big, it's better? Or when we are smaller, as a smaller country, for those that are saying that the union in Nigeria is no longer working, the federal government is finding it difficult to give job to people in Irepo local government area in Oyo State. The Oyo State governor cannot provide a job for people in Iwajowa local government. The government of President Muhammadu Buhari cannot guarantee a job in somewhere in the north where there is insurgency going on as well. So my question to those of you, let's come back now to 2023. Before we move to some of the debt, the next part is going to be the debt of Nigeria. Nigeria and Jelowolowo. So let me just conclude with the unemployment, and then we go straight into the debt of Nigeria. Like I said, KPMG has stated that Nigerian unemployment rate had increased to 37.7% in 2022 and will further rise to 40.6% due to the continued inflow of job seekers. Àwọn èèyàn wáṣẹ́ bọ̀ kò síṣẹ́. So bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń ṣe tán ní university, as you're coming out of the university, you are expected to go into the job market, whether you're an estate agent, whether you're an estate developer, you're a contractor, you're a driver, it does not matter whatever job it is, but the expectation is 5 million new entrants, but that is not happening. The multinational consulting firm, in a newly released report tagged KPMG Global Economic Outlook, reported the first quarter of 2023 said unemployment will continue to be a challenge. You will go around every part of Nigeria, you will not get that job. And I'm not sure whether a prayer can solve it. Maybe if you get out of Nigeria, that might likely solve you looking for a job. Due to the slower than required economic growth, the economy of Nigeria is not growing to the pace of where you will find a job. And when economy is growing, that means it's a country that is going to be industrialized. And what do I mean by that? That means we're going to be producing enough of these, and enough of these, enough of that. And that would mean that more people will be employed in different factories producing, packaging. Just like I said in one of my broadcasts, in our sister broadcast, I did say that Ondo State has this local airport, but this local airport does not do anything more than one flight comes in and one flight goes out, and that's it for the whole day. But Ondo State has what it takes to make sure that they have the enabling environment, employ many people, and maybe people can travel from Ogun State to go and work in Ondo State, and we can turn that airport to a 24-hour services where they can ship out things that are being produced. But the governor of Ondo State is probably too busy to do such, because he cannot even guarantee his own health care. He has to travel to Germany. And this is the current situation being faced across Nigeria. So Ondo State, that is meant to be the hub, like Lagos State, Anambra State, that is meant to be the hub, Enugu State, Port Harcourt Port, that is meant to be working like the Lagos Port, has been literally made not to work. The 4 refineries have not worked to the capacity. So the question is, you will not get that job because the economic growth of Nigeria is not there. Nigeria will grow nípa economy. So ìwọ tó ń pe Ọlọ́run pé k'Ọlọ́run jọ̀ọ́ ríṣẹ́, I don't know which Ọlọ́run tó ń pè, because as we look, we don't look. Forget about this woman that keep telling you Ọlọ́run. You don't project things with Ọlọ́run. You look at the situation. Is she saying the right thing? No. Then why are people following her? It's just the same thing that we are saying, that praying to God to get a job when the country does not produce anything, to give you that opportunity. So what kind of prayer is that? Maybe the prayer might lead you outside the country. I don't know. A lot of you go to churches all the time. They cook food for you for some churches. But at the end of the day, all this is still not going to solve the problem. Let's go again and listen to part of the track that we were playing earlier. It is still Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And I say, welcome once again to those of you that have joined us. Do you have a dream job? Or are you searching for your dream job? Are you going to get the dream job? Or are you not going to get the dream job? These are all part of the conversation tonight. Arabani is the sweet music from Sister Janet. I'm talking about the job market in Nigeria. 5 million of you are meant to be getting the job every year, but that is not working. Shout out to those of you in Okeogun. Shout out to those of you at also, all the borderline. I say shout out to all those that are also working for the sister broadcast as well.
Sunday, ẹyẹ tó má ṣe kọ́ kí ẹ ò fi ní gbọ́mọ́. Òrìṣà tó ṣe fọ́kọ̀ màdé.
Báwo ni wọ́n ṣe fẹ́ ríṣẹ́ nígbà tí ìjọba ò provide iṣẹ́ fún yín?
Ṣé bí yẹn ò kọ́mọ́ lágbẹ̀dẹ?
Unemployment is expected to continue to be a major challenge in 2023. Can Bola Tinubu solve that? Due to the limited investment by the private sector. Government kan ló máa ń fúnyàn níṣẹ́, private sector ló máa ń provide iṣẹ́. Some of the reason as well is the low industrialization. Bí ṣe sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan, ní factory kankan tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ mọ́ ní Nàìjíríà.
Ìdí orí tó máa kọ́ ni wípé Yorùbá nation is not going back in.
Not going back is Yoruba nation at exactly almost 7:45 p.m. It's going to be all the conversation on the indigenous people. But for now, it's all about the Nigerians and the Nigerian market. When there is no industrialization, you're not likely to get a job. So praying to God, I don't know how that is going to happen. bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ìyàwó Agbémilékè ṣe ká má parọ́ ká má jalè diaspora bo àṣírí gan ni o. A lot of us don't have the money, but at least we have the good standard of living. Good evening to you, Adetutu. Welcome to you, our mother, into the program. A shout out to a brother, Mr. Jimoh Adeosun. Shout out to those of you that are planning to become a big farmer, have this farm going on, but it seems that the Fulani terrorists are back on the loose again. As we keep saying Yoruba Nation, at exactly 7:45 p.m, I'll be giving you all the update. And please, Mrs. Modubonitiri she has not made any impact to this movement than destroying it further. She came into the movement with the hope that she would be able to bring the movement down. But now that we have been able to find our tactics, just like some of the pastors in Nigeria, their mouth is sweet. I see God today, I see God tomorrow. And she has been able to use the same technique that your pastor say, oh my, rich like Jesus, what shall be 500 and I see there. So but if you 500 naira and see there, inshallah, and you put that 500 naira there, and 3 weeks down the line, you cannot get another 500 naira. Some of you say we should not even call her Mrs. Well, we are still giving her that bit tough. At 7:45, gbogbo nǹkan lọ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá nípa Yorùbá Nation. Kí làwọn bàbá Adébánjọ ṣì ń rò tó fi sọ pé Nigeria's struggle continue. Do you believe in Pa Ayọ̀ Adébánjọ say? The depth of Nigeria is becoming very, very big. We're going to be talking about that in just about a few minutes. This is Starr Radio UK. My brother free to think say, how can they create a job without the power source? Kò síná, nepa. Àní ìyá Ìjẹ̀bú níyàn kan ríṣẹ́ máa bá wa clean. We normally put that job in a care worker. But ẹni ẹ sọ pé ìgbẹ́ tóun kó oní kò dá rárá. Shout out to all the fans of Starr Radio UK around the world, from Kenya to Zimbabwe to South Africa, and welcome once again to This Is How We Do It. But one thing is, Starr Radio UK is 24/7, where you can find all the latest of what is happening right there. Go on the www.starradiouk.com.org. I hope I got that right before giving you a different link at exactly www.starradiouk.com.
Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
And that is Starr Radio UK. Now we come back again into the conversation. My name is OLAMILEKAN. As you settle in every Wednesday, this is how we roll out here on the Starr Radio UK channel, where we discuss issues. Everybody have the right to do what they want to do. So those of you that probably, have seen some of those, I don't want to talk about them, some pictures of people that have endorsed Tinubu. Don't be concerned. Don't get worried. At least those individuals will be able to get part of the national cake. Our focus for those of us that want Yoruba Nation is that we must not lose our guard. And don't let anybody intimidate you to say that Yoruba Nation is not going to come true. Nigeria will get to understand that this year you will not get the dream job. The debt in Nigeria is quite high. Very, very high. Extremely high. There is likely that there will be another strike from ASU. Last year, before we move to the debt analysis of Nigeria, according to Reuters, dated October 14, 2022, with the headline, Nigeria Public University Lecturers Suspend Strike After 8 Months. That is about somebody that wants to give birth. In another 1 month, the person will be having a labor pain and they'll be taken out to the hospital, and the husband will be looking for money. That is if you're in Nigeria trying to raise money for the hospital because no health care for you. I hope that Tinubu, that a lot of them that are hoping that Tinubu is going to solve all this problem that is on the table that Buhari could not complete in 8 years, Tinubu will be able to come and do it. Because 8 months, if you were a female in Nigeria last year and you were lucky to have this relationship and, you could have given birth last year because you did not end up going to university or polytechnic. 8 months. So by the time you're going back, you're due to give birth to that new bouncy baby boy in the country that does not have anything for you. Nectech Electrical, good evening to you. I hope you're listening to me. According to Reuters, 8 months in 2022, out of 12 months, 8 months, the government shut down. Should I say the government? Yes, because the government did not want to negotiate the right terms and conditions with ASU, and that literally means that all the universities were all shut down and the polytechnic and all the other higher institutions. And like I said, if you were a female, I would not be surprised that last year, one of our female students in any part of Nigeria gave birth after they resumed back to university or polytechnic. In the same situation that there is no welfare system. So what do we know? Nigerian public university lecturers have suspended an 8-month-old strike over the pay, which has kept students out of classrooms and trigger an appeal from the president to end it, the head of the union said on Friday. Do you know why the government could not pay the lecturers? Because of the too many debts that the Nigerian government have got, and we don't have the foreign reserve. The Nigerian foreign reserve okay, which of my voice is ahead of the sound? I'm told that my voice very clear? Can you all hear me very well? I've just been told that my voice is is my voice faint? For those of you that are listening to me, I'm told that the voice is not coming clearer. Dr. Wumi, a very good evening to you. Loud and clear on the YouTube. Thank you so much. What about those of you on the other platform as well? Waris Ginaldo, aside you, thank you so much. Mr. Temitope Osho, can you hear me very well? I'm sure those of you on Instagram have no issue with it. Okay, so maybe it is your own device or where you might want to come out of the broadcast and come back in. Thank you, Robert MK. So my voice is very, very clear. Dash Mayos is clear. I think the person is on the Facebook, so maybe we should get more people to talk on Facebook and confirm that if the voice is very clear. Once again, a very good evening and welcome to those of you that have joined us. Thank you so much, Nectech. The reason why Nigeria could not pay the lecturers is nothing more than the fact that the government doesn't have the money. Princess Adebimpe Adeniyi, Grandma Awoniyi sọ pé loud and clear. Thank you so much. Oyeyemi Oladimeji said, we can hear you very well. Thank you so much. The lion himself. Yes, so shout out to those of you yourself that have joined us. Abigail Chukwueze, thank you so much. All hail Biafra. And those that still believe in Nigeria, it is your right, okay? Nobody's telling you and forcing you to come and join Yoruba Nation. Yes, there's never issue on Instagram because it's a separate broadcast completely from the software that we use all the time. Thank you so much again to my back-end engineer, Mr. Archie and Frank. And again, this is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. When I come after this short interlude, we're going to now look into everything when it comes to the depth of Nigeria.
Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
This is Starr Radio UK, and now let's go to, according to the Debt Management Office of Nigeria, where I'm getting this information from. Oladele, thank you so much for joining. Once again, to those of you that are listening to us on all the platforms, remember that every Wednesday, this is how we do it here on the Starr Radio UK channel. My name is OLAMILEKAN. We have about an hour left and there's still a lot to discuss. I want to talk about Buhari, 8 months, was sick, according to Femi Adesina. Buhari is presently in Saudi Arabia, praying, according to Ramadan as a Muslim. Now let's come to the Nigeria Debt Management Office. What do we know? What are they telling us? How much is Nigeria owing? What is the debt of Nigeria today? Can Tinubu or anybody coming in be able to resolve this problem? Let me say this, borrowing is not a problem. But if you're not using the money that you borrow very well, then you're likely to have a lot of problems. So as you can see behind me, I'm going to read that out. I know it's very tiny at the back there, but be rest assured, Starr Radio UK will do everything to bring you those images right close to you. And if you're watching on a big screen, you're likely to see it as well, because I can monitor from my other screen here, but I'm going to read it because my body is also blocking a little bit of it. So what do we know? According to the press release, on the December 31st last year, Nigeria total public debt data as of December last year. So that was about 4 months ago. These also include all the 36 states, including the FCT. Remember that your governor can borrow money as long as they want to, just like that KABIRU wants to repair or put in place the cargo airport. All I see all the time is just the aircraft land and it takes off. They are not showing us anything, no building, nothing, just the tarmac. So, but he wants to get money. There's nothing wrong in that. As long as the KABIRU get that money, but he's not saving that money back because he has invested his own personal money into the politics of Amala and Begiri in Nigeria. Because what they do is, they also have the opportunity to borrow money, but you cannot borrow where the government will now be responsible. So now let's read a little bit further. Waris Jinadu says to the tune of 77 trillion. Thank you so much to those of you. City Boy Adewu, you say your voice is ahead of the video. Yes, my voice might be ahead. Okay, I say what you're saying. Because remember that we are actually streaming the broadcast. If you want me to, we can actually switch it around, and that way I will take off my own mic. I know the reason what I get what the message, the problem is now. So let the audio come out. The problem is now. So let the audio come out straight from the broadcast rather from the mic. So now it should be better now, and we should be on the same page. And I'm going to change that as well with those that are listening to us on the mixed LR. So my voice now should be very moving with the video or the same speed. I understand now. Thank you so much. So my back-end team were clear on that then. So it is my own voice coming through my own mic, but on the video is a bit, it's not going in sequence. But that should be okay now. If you're watching me now, can you confirm that you are now listening to me right inside the studio rather than from my own mic? Can you still hear me loud and clear? And I'm not talking to those of you on the Instagram. Just Reason says, not yet here on the YouTube. Okay, let me see. Maybe I didn't release the 1 minute. Are you sure that the sound is not coming on the YouTube? Is this not yet? Okay, so that's strange. No, I see what they did. Okay. So the sound is not coming out on the YouTube. Not yet here on the YouTube. No, the sound is out on the YouTube. Yeah, there's a sound on the YouTube. So you are now, don't worry about my mouth. Focus on the video because you're now watching directly from the Starr Radio UK broadcast. So Koiki, your mouth is faster than the voice. Don't worry about that. I think what is happening is because we are streaming from the if you're watching it on Starr Radio UK, you will not get this problem. But because a lot of you are watching from the sister broadcast, which you all know the sister broadcast, that is why one is a bit faster than the other. But if you go on the Starr Radio UK Facebook, I can assure you that everything is clear and smooth. So vice versa, okay? D_, the real norm, also went on to say is the last minute cash out business in Nigeria. So let's just go ahead with the program. I'm sure as long as you can still, pick so don't worry about these. Just focus on the video coming out from the Facebook. So the sound is very clear and I can hear myself as well in it as well. So thank you so much to all the back-end team. Now let's read through with these, debt management office. Nigeria's total public debt data as at December 31st, 2022. As at December 31st, 2022, which is about 4 months ago, the total public debt stock consisting of the domestic and the external debt stock of the federal government of Nigeria and the sub-national government, I'm talking about the 36 state government and the federal capital territory, was 46.25 trillion naira. I repeat that again, 46.25 trillion naira, which is about, for those of you that wants to know that in dollar, that's about 103.11 billion US dollars. When are we going to end up paying these? Wow, that's a staggering amount of money there. In a country where also 40% of people don't have a job. So how do we pay all this debt? How long is it going to take us to pay this debt back? Now, wow. The comparative figure for December 31st, a year before that in 2021, is 39.56 trillion naira, which is about, in US dollar, $95.77 billion. So if we compare from 2021, it has gone up with about roughly 5 trillion naira, roughly. So the debt, we say Nigeria lost with about 5 trillion naira. Mrs. Esther say, how many years is going to take us to pay this debt and who is going to pay it? Well, Nigerians are going to pay it because your government have went to borrow from China, from the Exim Bank and the Arab Bank and all the loan they can get from any country, and they've used Nigeria as a guarantor. So all the debt is owed by every Nigerian that doesn't have a job. And every Nigerian that are outside, as long as you are still a Nigerian, you are also going to be paying part of the debt. There's nothing wrong if we get a loan, but when you get a loan and the train track that you have used the loan for cannot have safety security, as we saw when the Abuja-Kaduna train was attacked last year, and they've just opened it back. So how do you get the money to fund the debt? Let's go further. In terms of composition, and this is coming from the Debt Management Office in Nigeria, in about almost 15 minutes, we go out with all the conversation with the Biafra government in exile, the Yoruba nation, and any other discussion before 8:30. Starr Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. This is Naija Voices every Wednesday. In terms of composition, the total domestic debt stock was 27.55 trillion naira, which is about $61.42 billion, while the total external debt stock was about 18.7 trillion naira, which again is about roughly 41.69 billion US dollars. Waris Jinadu is also telling us that Idiagbon era was about 7 billion US dollars from the US 26 billion debt under Buhari, then in 1983-1984. Let's go further. Amongst the reasons for the increase in the total public debt stock were the new borrowings, the loan that we are taking out from the different countries around the world, especially China, and I know that they're trying to get another $800 million or something like that. I don't know whether that has been approved by the rubber stamp Senate that the country have presently. But what we know that according to the Debt Management Office is saying that we've been able to borrow. Our borrowing has gone up again. Among the reasons for the increase in the total public debt stock were new borrowings by the federal government and the subnational government, that is your governors that are borrowing as well, primarily to fund the budget, the deficit, and execute projects. So, I remember that the 1999 constitution that we are using presently is also part of a problem. So, when we say that Nigeria is not working, an average man that doesn't understand nothing is just there saying Nigeria is working, but he does not know that Nigeria is not working because some of the reason is what we are just reading out today. Some of the reason is because a lot of you out there don't have a job. Some of the reason is because the government keep borrowing money and yet they cannot complete the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, that is the corridor to move goods out of Lagos to every part of Nigeria. So more of you end up spending hours that should be up to use to get to your business center, your businesses, moving the logistics and different things. You get stuck on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. You are sitting there for 6 hours when the journey should not be more than 45 minutes, maximum an hour, 30 minutes. So when those of you that sit down there complaining that Nigeria is working, I'm asking how? Can you give us the projection that Nigeria is working? Because if KPMG is saying that this year, 2023, 40.6% of you will never get a job. I don't know when the next strike is going to come up, but I know that last year, a lot of you end up to have babies, whether you're a male or female, because 8 months you were out of the university. And as of today, according to your government in Nigeria, is saying that the debt is going up. There's nothing wrong in that. It's just that we keep borrowing, but they cannot give you the project where the loan is going into. Because as we speak today, there is no constant 24 hours electricity, just as Obasanjo wasted $16 billion saying that he's going to give you electricity. But today, he's moving around in Nigeria in his own little comfort zone. But while Nigerians that he left in darkness are still having the hope, and part of that we're going to be discussing when we get into the indigenous people. Because Obasanjo believes in Nigeria, just as Pa Ayo Adebanjo at 95 years old, happy birthday daddy, says to us that Nigeria's struggle continue. While Professor Adebanjo Akintoye is saying that the Yoruba people must get out of Nigeria now, and we can sit around the table, look at the debt, and they can spread the debt among us. While the Biafra are not wasting their time, they've already established a government in exile, where Simon Ekpa is now the first prime minister of that government in exile. We don't know the situation with the Arewa. Maybe they still want to keep the Nigeria. Maybe it's working for them because Nigeria is operating two different entities. We have the Sharia and we have the secular. So if I wanted to set up an alcohol business in Kano, I will be told you can't do so because this is an Islamic country. Because in the nutshell, northern part of Nigeria that is operating on the Sharia have become automatically an Islamic country. So for those of us that are saying that we want Yoruba nation, that shouldn't be any problem. We don't have to kill each other. We don't have to go to the war. And that is why Professor Banji Akintoye have said that the Yoruba nation struggle, it will be a peaceful movement. But it seems that Dugbe Onitiri, as we know, came into the movement. She wants to destroy the movement and allow the federal government to label us as terrorist organization. All that will be discussed in just about 6 minutes from this program, but we are still discussing the depth of Nigeria. Keep the comment coming, and I'll keep reading it out as well if I can get it. So if anybody is thinking that the Biafra that is now having a government in exile, but we, the Yoruba, say we don't like them, so why not allow them to conduct the referendum? If they fail, then they remain in Nigeria. If they win, we allow them to go. It's as simple as that. You cannot force them to be with you when you are not going to allow them to be the president, because nobody likes Peter Obi because he's an Igbo man and he has this undertone that he wants to steal the Yoruba land. Why are we all living together if we are having problems? This is what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was fighting for until some of the criminal people that are around the doors sold him to the federal government. He was captured in Kenya, and the government that is meant to now obey the law of his country on its own is now refusing to do so. And that is why we are saying that the Yoruba nation struggle, the Biafra country that they are looking for. Let us all decide this on the round table without shooting a gun, just as it was done during the Soviet Union. But if that doesn't happen, I'm going to tell you what might likely happen. There is a lot of conflict of interest in Nigeria. The northern part of Nigeria is also saying that we have already given you Yoruba people the president. We have given the north the vice president, but we are not going to allow the Igbo to become the Senate president. We will still want to be the Senate president. Is that fair? Remember, they run that country election, especially the APC, on a Muslim ticket. Are we now an Islamic country? Are we not meant to be Christian and Muslim? If you don't respect the tradition, but at least give the room for the Christian. But Tinubu said, no, I want to be the president. But the northern part of Nigeria said, you will not get the vice president from the southeast. It has to come back to the north. Atiku did not want to allow Peter Obi. And all this conflict of interest, where do you think is going to land? You don't want to go anywhere in just about 5 minutes. You need to sit down here and listen to all that. This is Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Mrs. Esther went on to say, if we get our Yoruba nation, is the money going to be divided, or are we less concerned? No, it will be divided among every part of the different part that breaks away from Nigeria. And these are so many reasons that the international community might not want Nigeria to break because of the current situation of Nigeria. Because if Nigeria breaks, it's not about the debt alone. Imagine the humanitarian catastrophe. And if we don't want that to happen, then the federal government must sit down on the round table, give a timeline to the United Nations, the ECOWAS, the European Union, with the Biafra, the Yoruba, the Arewa, and let everybody discuss. Or maybe, like Pa Adebanjo says, we might get that Igbo president by going to court. According to him, Buhari went to court, there was no good outcome. Atiku went to court, there was no good outcome. Do you think that there will be a fair judicial system that will probably change the narrative and probably give it to Peter Obi or give it to Atiku? Do you think that is going to happen before May 29? There is just too many conflicts in Nigeria, and it's just waiting to explode. Nectech Electric say Yoruba nation is the only solution. Let every tribe go on their own way. Just Reason say, how did they share the money during the breakup of Yugoslavia? That is something that I would have to do a finding on. And let us remind ourselves that as much as we talk about the Soviet Union breakup, I believe that they have already been running what they call like a regional government before the breakup. I think I'm right to say that. So it was probably maybe easy for them because they have the regional government. If Nigeria did not get to the stage of the coup, the civil war, and we are operating the regional government, it could have been easy for breakup of Nigeria without talking about too much debt on Nigeria, because everybody would have been running the regional government in the last 63 years. So I don't know, but like I said, even if we are owing billions of dollars, we will still have to pay that money if we break up for Nigeria. But that is a conversation that we need to probably get some expert, or we'll do a bit of more research, and we can bring that to you on those of our listeners, both here on Starr Radio UK and the sister broadcast as well. Shout out to those of you. It is King AY in Akure, Oladele Amidu. The time is going very fast, and I want to quickly finish up with the debt management, because basic is something that you pay. If not, Chinese, we don't know the kind of contract. Maybe we don't pay back. I have to be a slave for the Chinese government for the next 20 years. And we don't know. We don't know what has been the collateral that the federal government have used. Are we the collateral, the Nigerians? Is it part of our land? Is it our mineral resources? What is the federal government using to get this loan from the international community? Is the Arab going to take over Nigeria if we don't pay them back their loan? Remember the Sukuk loan. You know, you see this sign all the time when you travel within Nigeria, Suku, Suku. Is it Suku? So there's a lot of pressure, and all this is happening, and there's still some Nigerians out there thinking we can change the narrative. I don't know how. So let's go quickly into it. Amongst the reason for the increase in the total public debt stock were the new borrowings by the federal government and the sub-national government, which is your state governors. Primarily to fund the budget. The federal government do not have enough money to fund our budget, and that means deficit, and also to execute a lot of the project. The insurance of the promissory note by the federal government to settle some liability also contribute to the growth in the debt stock. So the money that the government is making, the little money that we are making from outside through sales of crude oil, the export, we are using that to service the debt. We've not even started paying the debt. We are still actually service ìgbésẹ̀ lọ́wọ́. Ongoing effort by the Buhari government to increase revenues from oil and non-oil source through initiatives such as Finance Act and the Strategy Revenue Mobilization Initiative are expected to support the debt sustainability. Meanwhile, the total public debt to gross domestic product, known as the GDP ratio from December 31st, 2022 was 23.20% and indicates a slight increase from the figure of December 31, 2022 at 22.47%. The ratio of 23.20% is within the 40% limit self-imposed by Nigeria. The 55% limit recommended by the World Bank and International Monetary Fund, and the 70% limit recommended by the Economic Community of West African States. So let me just explain that, in basic. Good evening to you, Comrade Segun Ono. For those that do not understand all these big numbers, and it might be very, very difficult to understand. All I can say in a layman is Nigeria jẹ gbèsè. Gbèsè tá dẹ̀ jẹ yẹn a sì ń san díẹ̀díẹ̀. We dey owe money, boku money. We dey owe China, we dey owe America, we dey owe different countries wey borrow us money, but the government don use certain things from each part of Nigeria to make sure say if we no fit pay this money we no fit service am, then IMF have the right to continue to say your naira must be devalued. So that is why today this piece of paper that is with me right now, the 500 naira, does not have any value. If you have 300,000 of these, it cannot last you for 1 month in Nigeria. And that's for those that even have it. So the reason why you are in the poverty level is because IMF and World Bank knows that kò ní strength. It does not have the strength, even though a lot of people are trying to move away from the dollarization, but this does not have strength with the dollar. So, this is $1, but the $1, I would need to get about almost 800 naira of these. So this now becomes, weak. And Mr. Shegun went up to say, IMF is coming with the structural adjustment program sooner than later. So they will have to intervene. So IMF máa wá sọ fún ìjọba Tinubu tó bá dé pé no. Ìlú ìjẹgbèsè. You don't have the money. You are not producing anything. The crude oil, they are stealing it every day. It's not bringing back the money. Abacha stole so much. People are giving, and that means you have to devalue the naira again. So, and that is why they are now looking at, that is going to be another conversation. Maybe next week I'm going to talk about that. The subsidy removal. As at yesterday, I was speaking to one of my family member on the ground yesterday. One rap petrol need 550 naira per liter, and that is not without the removal of the subsidy. So by the time the subsidy is removed, the projection is that the petrol is going to go to 750 naira per liter. These are going to be part of the pressure cooker for an average Nigeria, because if you take 1 month to 500 naira law, one might increase it to 800 naira. And that also means that is the government that you work for or the private sector, for those of you that have that job, she one might increase salary láti lè meet up, because the more the inflation goes up, your salary is also meant to at least get to a certain bar, so that wale ra rice, tó bá tẹ̀lé ra àpò rice, wale ra díẹ̀ kékeré. And now we are moving into the Yoruba nation conversation. So for those that probably do not understand, 500 naira that can buy a small stout. Wow. For those that drink, Èló ló ń ta small stout nísìnyí. Small stout, for those that do not understand what small stout is, that Guinness, you know the Irish Guinness and the Nigerian Guinness. So the smaller bottle, you cannot use 500 naira to buy. How much ni wọ́n ta pure water? Because I think I have 250 naira here. How much is the pure water? If I wanted to buy pure water tonight, I'm tasty, and we're gonna break our fast, and I'm in that tight bus that is taking me from Eko Bridge. How much is the pure water? Because I have only 100 naira. Can I still buy pure water and I buy shishin? No, I'm not talking about the bag. What am I going to do with the bag? I'm not doing charity here. I just want to buy one to drink for myself. How much can I buy? I have 100 naira with me, and I'm making my way back. I'm making my way back home from a hotel where I thought I would meet somebody that would give me 500 naira or 5,000 naira, but that person, I'm told, I've traveled back to Nigeria. 20 naira, very good. So out of this 100 naira, I can buy two, because to quench my taste, that means I have 60 naira. Can I buy popcorn for 60 naira? Ṣé mo lè rí popcorn rà ní 60 naira? Ṣé mo lè rí popcorn rà? Ẹ máa tó máa ń ta popcorn yẹn, àwọn ọmọ. Popcorn. How much is the popcorn? Tí bá wà nínú traffic, that heavy traffic in Lagos State. I only have 100 naira, because the 500 naira, if I spend it, I will have to walk when I get to Songo, and I don't want to walk. I want to make sure that I can still use the rest of the 500 naira to take me to Ifo, because that's where I live. Because all the Igbo people, according to us, have bought Lagos State and they are taking our land, and we don't want them anymore, but we are not giving them opportunity for a referendum. So popcorn is 15 naira. Hey, come, popcorn. 15 naira. So all I have left is now 10 naira from the 100 naira. And the question is, there will be more problem. And if we remain as Nigerians, then the government that is coming in, for those of you that are excited, this government that is coming in, you would have a lot of work to do. The government, as this is a very good evening to you, you will have a lot to do, because the government needs to make sure that it's ready to give you everything you need. And the question is, can the government give you what you need? 41% Nigerians, out of job ratio. Shout out to those of you that have joined us, my big uncle Akim Adiorasaki, and also those of you in Paris. I will not say Paris, it's Paris. I saw Macron in China. I don't know whether all the conversation went as planned. The fight between Russia and Ukraine is still very, very heavy, but one thing I can say is that we hope, humanity will not have to suffer the consequence of what is going on. So I'm told that popcorn is 100 naira. Hey, gbèsè ti dé báyìí. But somebody told me it's 50 naira. Where did you get 100 naira from? I don't want popcorn of 100 naira. And please, can we get popcorn done tonight, please? Somebody just told me that popcorn is 50 naira, and you went to come and kill my hope now. Please be careful, Olakunle, because I only have 100 naira. These 500 naira, I must make sure takes me back home and at least get me back to a hotel in the morning. And I have to do some walking along the line as well. So let's come back to the conversation now. Yoruba Nation. There's a lot going on in the movement. But one thing we can assure a lot of you that are out there is that the Yoruba people have made up their mind. And making up their mind means that they want to leave Nigeria. And that is why we say Yoruba Nation is a movement. And in any movement, there's always ups and downs. It is never perfect. Since it's not an armed struggle, we are not fighting the government, using guns and weapons and all sorts. We are using the media. We are educating. We have done protests, even though we've been killed during the protest, but we have not taken arms to fight the government. So this movement is still a very, very peaceful movement. I was telling you earlier that I was listening to our father, Professor Adebanji Akintoye, in one of the recording I have with him, is with me. And in that recording, he actually said, as at 1533, Ijebu people were already running let me rephrase it again. As at 1533, I wanted to calculate it for those of you that knows the math, and I know my brother is here, Mr. Shegun Ono. And thank you so much once again to every one of you that is listening. Ibrahim Babati say, no popcorn is 100 naira. No, popcorn is 100 naira. So that means I can't eat popcorn. I'll just drink water and I'll just be Mama Fera. What about gala? Can I buy gala for 60 naira? What's going on? Is everything expensive in Nigeria? What? 1953. I want you to follow me with this conversation. This was part of the history I got from Professor Adebanji Akintoye. Ijebu was already a city and a town as at 1953. Atije, town and cities. But today, the Ijebu is no longer even a town, is no longer even a city, is not even, we cannot even call it a slum. It's like as dead as nothing. Gala is 100 naira, forget it. I'm not going to spend this 500 naira. I need to keep this 500 naira because although my baby Tibade Ikeja long, which my back on Dr. Ja, my phone 500, I don't think about 300, I need no 200. So that means I drink water alone. Don't worry. I have a gari at home. When I go home, I go and drink that gari. And this is how Nigerian lives and the Yoruba people. So when we now talk about right to self-determination, they're asking question, who is going to be your leader? The one that is your leader, Buhari, for a city on Monday, 48 hours ago, claimed that President Muhammadu Buhari's 8-month sickness back in 2017 was a setback to the current administration. Do you think that Tinubu coming now is also going to be a setback? Because we know that his health, even though they are hiding it, we know that. Just as Buhari was pampered and packaged and presented to Nigeria as a strong man, just as Buhari was in 1983, when he actually overthrown a government, a civilian government in precise, a democratic government. Olakule is advising me, say, if you reach Ikeja along from Oshodi without 500 naira, you won't be able to buy pure water. No, I have 600 naira. Remember, I still have this 50 naira. And I wanted to buy pure water and gala or popcorn with this 100 naira. This 500 naira. Even if somebody wants to steal it in Oshodi, the person will have to fight me. Because where I keep this 500 naira, if you have to put your hand inside it, I will have to make sure that we will go into... But I only want to spend 100 naira because that is always my spare. But I want to buy pure water, I want to buy either gala or popcorn. But you guys have told me that pure water is 20 naira and I cannot drink one. It's not enough for me. I have to buy 2. That means I need 2 out of these. That's 40 naira is gone. I now only have 60 naira and nobody can tell me what I can buy with 60 naira. 60 naira. What can I buy with 60 naira in Nigeria today? In any part of Nigeria. But precisely Lagos State, because I'm not living in the north where there's Sharia. I want to stay in Lagos State where I don't want the Igbo people to take our land. So what are we trying to explain to those of you that are listening to us all the time is that the situation with the Yoruba nation and those that are agitating for the Biafra nation, there's nothing wrong in it. You might not like the presentation. You might be asking questions and you are not getting that answer. Does not mean that Buhari that came to power have given you all the answer because his media handle or his media publicity told us that Buhari was very sick. For 8 months, Buhari was not, we don't even know whether he was alive. So if you are saying that because, it's Akintoye that is leading the movement and IGBOHO is in support and, all the other great leaders that are working as well, I'm not talking about Mrs. Dupe Onitiri now because she came just to destroy the movement. It's as simple as that. We cannot say it more and we cannot continue to live in denial and deceive ourselves. Just as Buhari destroyed Nigeria, because if Buhari knew he was not strong enough, why did he contest in 2015? They could have presented a different candidate. But right now, they are also doing the same thing. They have presented Tinubu to you and told you that Tinubu is going to come and do the magic wanding. Tinubu is going to come and fix Nigeria. He's going to make sure that you have a job. He's going to make sure that the economy of Nigeria continue to project. He's going to make sure that instead of this 100 naira, I can be able to spend my 500 naira and I don't have to complain. Because are we going to get another Buhari that will come in after May 29, and then for 8 months, Tinubu will probably be in Paris, because I think he's more used to Paris hospital than London. I don't know. But it seems that Buhari is more frequent, because he told us that he has been coming to London during the military regime and after he left, because his doctors are here in London. But it seems that the doctors representing Tinubu are there. And my question to every Yoruba right now, because Tinubu that you all are looking up to, that is coming to fix Lagos State, is coming to fix Osun State, is coming to fix the whole of Nigeria, are you sure about that? Are you very sure? If you give a child that 15 naira, the child will throw it at you. That's a big problem. Are you sure? Are you very sure that the new government coming in will be able to resolve a lot of our problems? Akin Games say 3 for 15 naira, so I can buy 3 water for 15 naira. Then what I'll do is I'll keep 2. I will take them to my house. I will drink it with the gari, because nobody's going to allow me to drink the gari right inside the public transport in Lagos State. This is Starr Radio UK. It is the Wednesday edition, and we are now almost 29 minutes before the end of the program. So, like I said to you all, let's first talk about the Biafra. We know that they had a government in exile that was on about a few days ago, according to the information that came to the public domain. What do we know? What do we understand by the government in exile of the Biafra Nation movement? All that is going to be the discussion now. A very good evening to you, a brother, a very, very good one, Citizen AY. A lot of you know him as it, but I normally call him the man with the white beard. when you see Citizen AY, you see with the white beard. A very good evening and welcome to the live transmission on Starr Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Government in exile. What do we know? So let's go and read a little bit about what we know with the government in exile from the Prime Minister of the Biafra Republic Government in Exile 2023. That is Mazi Simon Ekpa. And as he goes there, he says, "Thank you, Biafra people. Thank you, the advisory committee of the Biafra Government in Exile, for having in me and appointing me to this important job." Yesterday, this was about the 17th of April. Sorry, did I say 17th of April? No, that's something they're going to activate. This was about on the 9th of April, which is about almost 3 days ago. Yesterday, I was elected to serve the Biafra people as the Prime Minister of the Biafra Republic Government in Exile. We might have someone else to come and speak to us, at some time. Probably maybe somebody else within their own platform, to come and give us what do we understand by the government in exile? What does it mean to, the layman that is out there? Is it a government that is already in operation in the southeast of Biafra land, or how are they going to be operating? Maybe part of those discussions, we'll bring them to come and speak to us at the appropriate time. We might get the Prime Minister of the Biafra, or we might have maybe a representative. We will make contact with them, and if that is possible, we might have them speak to us either through the sister platform or particularly here on Naija Voices. But be rest assured that we will work hard to get somebody to come and explain to us. But let's go with what we know according to the Prime Minister of the Biafra Government in Exile. Yesterday, I was elected to serve the Biafra people as the Prime Minister of the Biafra Republic Government in Exile. A very tough task that only need God's guidance, wisdom, extraordinarily knowledge to navigate through many obstacles to Biafra freedom and to the freedom of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And for those of you that probably don't know, maybe you are watching us from African countries and you're like, what? What is going on in Nigeria? Well, you might not be following the situation of things, but Nigeria has indigenous people, and we also have about 500 different people that speak different languages. The British actually changed the whole narrative of the kingdom, as we talked about it earlier, that IGBOHO has been a kingdom with cities and towns in 1533. But the British decided that that was not good enough. In 1914, decided to amalgamate Nigeria by bringing the southeast part of Nigeria, the northern part of Nigeria, the southwest part of Nigeria, and then they call it the 1914 amalgamation. And that was even years after that, they actually now gave us independence. But the Biafra wants to go back to where it used to be, and that is the reason why you are hearing this government in exile. So in case you are listening and you're the first listener on this platform and you're a little bit lost and thinking, is Nigeria breaking away? Well, Nigeria is not just breaking away. Nigeria has a lot of issues, and one of that is people are now asking, as indigenous people, as their right according to the United Nations, the right to self-determination, the right under the African Union, and the right that everyone can have their own country. And what is a country? Country is people that speak the same language. Nigeria do not speak same language. I'm speaking English doesn't mean that is my official language. My official language is Yoruba. We are Yoruba before Nigeria, but as we know, Nigeria was forced on everybody, and that's why everybody is now saying, let's now move away from Nigeria and have our own independent sovereign nation. And this man that you're looking at behind me is now the first prime minister of the Biafra government in exile. So this job I will do with everything in me, and to see that over 3 million children that were slaughtered by the Nigerian terrorist government didn't die in vain. I'm sure a lot of you remember that in 1967, 68, 69, 70, for 3 good years, the federal government of Nigeria, in support by the British, the certain other countries as well, killed more than millions of children. Genocide actually took place, and that is part of what he says, that this job I would do with everything in me, and to see that over 3 million children that were slaughtered by the Nigerian terrorist government, they didn't die in vain. And as we said earlier, 80 children as of Saturday kidnapped from Zamfara State. Nobody is looking for them, and they're somewhere in the bush. Another former governor of Kaduna State, or Kanu, was also kidnapped. He paid 4 million naira. There's been the more of the terrorist activities. I'm going to be giving you that towards the end of the program, just before 23 minutes from now. Once again, a very good evening to you, Mrs. Eunice Ladipo. Beauty Omenogo. Thank you so much. And Clement says Ondo State can have its own seaport and a standard international airport. You're quite right as well. Semiu Adeyemi say everything is imported to the country. How is citizen going to get a job? And you're quite right. And that is why the Biafra says we don't need a big country. We need a smaller country as small as Finland, and we can produce enough for the Biafra. He also went on to say, also to make sure that those who died in this struggle for the movement, for the freedom, didn't die for nothing. This is like the history of Bangladesh and Pakistan repeating between Biafra and Nigeria. And it says, notice, if you don't know the history of Bangladesh independence, Google it. Don't worry, I will help you in one of our programs. I don't know which one, because we have a lot of programs coming up every Wednesday, but be rest assured that we will give you the background to the Bangladesh independence, not you going on the Google. The battle for the Biafra liberation just started. We will finish it. He went on to say, more of the government department will be activated and announced on or before the 17th of April 2023. Signed, Ekpa Simon Ijoku, the Prime Minister of the Biafra Republic Government in Exile, effective from the 8th day of April 2023, and is also still the Biafra spokesperson. So now let us listen to the State of the Nation address that Simon Ekpa actually did some few days ago, and it goes like this.
In the case of the repeat of Rwanda, we are at the edge of Rwanda in Nigeria, and the comment of the United Nations election observers has confirmed this particular edge of Rwanda in Nigeria. So, in the coming weeks, the Biafra government in exile will effectively communicate with the United Nations General Assembly and other bodies that we believe needed to be communicated to. Finally, Nigeria has violated its own law of secular state by allowing allowing Muslim ticket, and went further to elect them. It is an invitation to declaration of Biafra Republic, which will be done very soon. However, we will take it step by step, one step at a time. For this reason, Nigeria must make preparation to exclude Biafra territory from a region where Muslim president and the Muslim vice president will be sworn in on the 29th of May 2023. We will become, when they become their leaders, those people that will be sworn in as Muslim vice president and Muslim president will not be validated and recognized within the Biafra territory. It will be resisted in Biafra simultaneously as we will engage every presence of the Nigeria state in Biafra land in self-defense. The actions that the Biafra people will be taking in the coming days will be geared at releasing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is currently being illegally detained by the Nigeria state after he was being kidnapped from Kenya and renditioned to Nigeria. They have also violated the treaty they signed with the United Nations by not honoring the call. United Nations Working Committee, Working Group on Arbitrary Detention, the call and giving ultimatum to Nigeria government to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and compensate him. This particular call and the treaty has been violated with impunity.
Address to Biafrans in the last few days. Now, let's come back. Like I said, we will try and get somebody to come and give us a bit of, understanding. So what is the government in exile? What are they going to be doing? What is going to be, the new changes, in terms of the engagement with the international community and likewise with the federal government of Nigeria. Now, let's come back as well to, the Yoruba nation part as well. The Yoruba nation struggle, might not have come up to say they have a government in exile, but we know that there's a lot of work that has been done and has still been done. And the most important thing is the education that we've been told to educate our people. A lot of them were educated to some extent until we had, someone that came in and decided, she was going to take it to a different path by giving all this sweet narrative. And a lot of Yoruba people bought into that. And that seems that, it has brought in division between the movement. There are now some that believe that what she's doing is the needful, is the right thing, and what the other side were doing for 3 years was a wasted journey, even though, like I said, the Houthis in Yemen are still fighting to have their own independent state. The Western Sahara in Morocco still have about 20% of their territory. 80% is controlled by the Moroccans. There is also many others as well. The Welsh, on the 5th of May next month, the Scottish will be going out, I think on the 6th, on a large-scale movement of protest for the right to another referendum. And even the new Prime Minister, the new Minister of Scotland, has also assured that he will be doing everything to make sure that Westminster allow a different referendum again from the one that was conducted. So for those that have said that 3 years was just too long, and that means that these women that came along the line and then gave this different view regarding our own take on the on the movement has become something to be worried about. It has to be worried because for 3 years, people were being educated, we were taking the movement, stage by stage, and then some say, no, God has given the key to somebody else and she can do it better. But what we find out is she has destroyed not just, the psyche of people that believe that in today, 2023, you can just say God alone and that literally speak to United Nations. But there are also people that say that, but she told us that she has taken a document to United Nations. I am putting this out now for the very first time on record that she needs to come and tell somebody like me whether she took so many other people's signature. I'm putting this on record to Mrs. Modupe Onitiri. Did she also took people's signature without telling them what she wanted to do with it? Because I know of one person that I'm not going to talk about yet, but I want her to officially make an audio out of that and tell us if she does. But one thing for those of you that are saying that she has actually taken the movement to the United Nations, these are all lies that has been presented to some of the gullible Yoruba people, both in Nigeria and the gullible Yoruba people that are in diaspora that we thought are well learned. We now realize that it is not until you live in US or America, or sorry, in Canada, in Malaysia, in Singapore, in Spain, in Italy, that you are well learned. You are just as the same Nigerians that were fooled by the APC government that Buhari was fit enough until Buhari came to power, and 7 months Buhari was nowhere to be found, and that, according to Femi Adesina, made a setback. So we are saying again tonight that we will say that the Yoruba nation is not yet a nation. It is still the movement, and there is still a lot of conversation, a lot of engagement, both with people that believe in the Yoruba nation and those that doesn't believe as well. And for those that are having this notion that the Yoruba people that are in support of Professor Adebanji Akintoye wanted Tinubu to be the president, and that was why enough was not done to activate and declare a Yoruba nation. You can't just say you want to declare a country. There's a lot of different process. There's a lot of different protocol. It might not be as Soviet Union. It might not be as any other countries, but we still have to go through certain procedure. And those are the procedure that Baba Akintoye is going through. And if those of you that are not in support of that, like we always say, is a movement. You can believe in what she's telling you. Nobody's forcing you. But one thing is, it is also our duty and our responsibility to come out and tell you all the time that she's just lying, just as lie Muhammad. So on that note, as before, in the next 13 minutes, I'll be handing over back again. We can't take calls tonight. I would have loved to take calls, but we can't take the calls on Starr Radio UK. Bear with us. But one thing I can say, Sanki, good evening to you and welcome to the program. You end up to it as well. Government is very rich that they can pay 30 people to join. Okay, I don't want to give those platforms, on this Starr Radio UK, so I'm just going to leave that conversation. It's not worth even talking about those platforms as well. So one thing is, as we say, that Nigeria will not happen to you. We pray all the time, because if Nigeria happened to you, you will understand the impact. Let me give you some of the atrocities and some of the issues that are affecting Nigerians in every part of Nigeria in the last 72 hours. According to the armed attack by suspected terrorists in Agara community in Kababunu local government area of Kogi State, the incident has already claimed the life of the palace domestic worker in the community, while the traditional ruler of the village alongside 2 of his cabinet members, on a sorry note, have been adopted. This happened today in Kogi State. Imagine, a domestic worker has been killed, a traditional ruler with 2 of his cabinet members are no longer nowhere to be found. Also, police nab kidnappers couple over involvement in cultism in Ekiti State. We can also confirm that about 48 hours ago, there was another bloody jungle justice by individuals killing somebody because he also killed somebody in his own motor car. I'm not sure it's the right thing to do, but that is Nigeria. We saw the video where a young man was beaten, slapped. I believe those 3 police officers have now been called to Abuja for proper, we hope, they're not going to just be moving them to another unit. More story from Nigeria. As we know also, the tension in Agua local government area in Ogwata local government in Imo State following the attack that led to the gruesome murder and a very sad one, beheading of 2 unidentified persons on the 11th of April yesterday. So there's a lot of tension there. So be careful if you're living in that area. That has also made the market to be completely shut down. Also, police have nabbed suspected killers of the APC chieftains in Delta State. Quite a lot of terrible news going on in Nigeria. Sparkly, a very good evening to you and welcome. Mrs. Gbemileke went up to say, Duponitiri, Elenu, Lai Muhammad, her husband and wifey, they are both the same. So, again, the police force headquarters has announced the arrest of the Sergeant Abdullahi Bamasi, Issa Danladi, and Inspector Dairu. You remember that video? They were slapping this young man with the wife or the girlfriend, a very sad situation that Nigerians have to face. And I've been told that I shouldn't call you the citizen of Nigeria, because if he's a citizen, the country will look after you as a citizen. You will have a job, you will have the health care, you will have the well-being, you will have a standard of living, but we are better off as indigenous people where we can have to take care of ourselves just as Awolowo did during the regional government. Let's go further. There's another story of 104 Nigerians that have been returned back from Chad. Nigerians keep traveling all over the world because they are looking for better, greener pasture. If you get to UK or the European country, you might be lucky, but those that travel to other African countries are not as lucky as you. NEMA receives 104 stranded Nigerians from Chad, is the headline as well. Also, the police neutralized kidnapper, rescued 2 adopted victims in Adamawa. Again, police have arrested the people that allegedly stoned the driver to death, like I told you earlier, in Akure, Ondo State, in the last 48 hours. Quite a lot of sad news. Big Sam Favor, thank you so much for watching. We are just about 8 minutes before the program, and I'm just trying to catch up. Gunmen kill police and likewise injure 3 colleagues in Lagos. Is that depression or is that a mental problem? Are our police well equipped? Are they well trained to understand that when they are depressed, they need to go and see the welfare and then they can take them off duty? Sad news. Gunmen kill police, likewise injure 3 colleagues is another sad news. This happened in Lagos State, right in Ikorodu on the 7th of April. Gunmen shot a policeman to death while 3 of his colleagues were seriously injured as well. So sorry, I thought it was a different conversation entirely, but I realized that it was a gunman that actually shot the police. Division in the Ikorodu area were on patrol when they came under the assailant attack at Emure Junction on Itoki Road in the area. The assailant ambushed the police patrol team, opened fire and killed one on the spot and escaped with his rifle. May Nigeria not happen to our police. May Nigeria not happen to our military. And we also pray, may Nigeria never, never, never happen to you. Governor El-Rufai commend troops for neutralizing notorious terrorist Isaiah Dawasi in Igabi local government in Kaduna State. Police arrest a man for allegedly trafficking teenage girls to Libya from Osun State. A lot of our innocent Yoruba girls have been moved to Libya for prostitute, and it's good that somebody has been arrested. As I'm going to be leaving us in the next few minutes, a Lagos bartender kills colleagues during fight over POS transaction. This happened in Lagos State where somebody decided to take law into their hands. I actually told you that before I leave you tonight, that if Nigeria is not going to give room for indigenous people, and I actually copied this from our sister, which I posted on our timeline. The only difference is I removed a little bit from the write-up. I'm sure she will know that this write-up belongs to her. I actually copied it, please bear with me. This was posted on our timeline some few hours ago. Again, another sad story is just coming in. 3-story building have collapsed in Lagos State is the breaking news. It's just coming right now in front of my screen from our media, the sister broadcast. several people are trapped as a 3-story building have collapsed in Lagos State. This is coming from one of the report coming this evening. A yet to be ascertained number of people have been reportedly trapped in a 3-story building collapse in Lagos State. According to the report reaching our desk, it was learned that the structure involved was under construction and is located somewhere in Banana Island. Meanwhile, emergency respondents have been mobilized to the scene as several on-site workers were reportedly trapped in the rubble. The Lagos territorial head of the National Emergency Agency, NEMA, confirmed the incident in a brief update Wednesday, saying a 3-story building under construction was just received at Banana Island. Workers are trapped. We are mobilizing. We pray that everyone that is involved will be free, and everyone that has died, may Nigeria not happen to the next person. Let's go further before I hand over to Archie. We lost a colleague of ours known as Agbede. I want to get the name very well so that we're not giving him a different name. He was actually traveling. He's a Yoruba nation person, and he was traveling to the north when he had a fatal accident. May his soul rest in peace. May the family he left behind also, God be with them. Let's get this picture out. An engineer are working on that quickly because of our timing. It's getting very fast, but we might bring his picture to your face. Some of you must have met him during the rally around Yoruba land. Some of you must have met him during the group chat in different platforms that he was before he died. But I can confirm from those that knows him very well that we lost a brother of Yoruba nation struggle, and we pray for the family. That is him right there, as we say, Keledumari, Ọlọ́run Ọba kó bá wa tẹ́ sí afẹ́fẹ́ ire. We remember those that have died as well in the past, just as we remember Yeyelufe, we remember so many individuals, and as you can see there, I think his nickname is called Agbede. It's somewhere from the Oyo Okeogun. Aki gbogbo àwọn mọ̀lẹ́bí tó súnmọ́, and we say from Starr Radio UK, may his soul rest in peace. Very, very dedicated from what we are told, very hardworking, a believer in the Yoruba nation cause, but he has gone home to sleep with the Lord, or Eledumare, as we can say. If Nigeria do not allow those that are agitating to go, or Nigerians that are asking for a better Nigeria, because not everybody wants Nigeria to disintegrate. So we must respect those that still believe that Nigeria must stand together. Good evening to you, Olaoluwa Sunday. Good evening to you, Shitu Omomi. And as I say, may Nigeria not happen to you. Remember that a soldier has been arrested for stabbing a man in Ondo State. Is another headline. Police have arrested a soldier that have actually stabbed a man in Ondo State. And as I say, before we hand over to the team in the studio, once again, there's a lot still going on. Boko Haram has killed thousands of people, adopted thousands, and forced more than 2 million people to flee their homes since 2009, according to Amnesty International. 1533, Ijebu was already a city and town, but today is no-go area. Overspeeding truck has killed 5 people today in Ogun State. Another sad news. Self-determination is not a crime, and we must continue to ask for our right under the European Union and everything. Looting the wealth of millions of Nigeria, and like I say, I just want to bring that up quickly before we go. This was put out in the comment section by one of our sisters. She's actually listening here. War is inevitable. It is what it is. The worldwide world doesn't want peace. Humankind are too wicked. We don't pray for war, but the world, Ayefurare, is very, very wicked. And that is how far we can go tonight on the Starr Radio UK. Remember the statistics we've given you tonight. Millions of you do not have the job. Millions of you will never get the job. Will Tinubu do justice when it comes in after swearing in on the May 29th. That is if the court doesn't overturn his election. We don't know. Let's remember that Ikerimadu will be sentenced next month. We're going to be giving you all the updates on that as well. Remember that today, that Simon Ekpa is now the Prime Minister, government in exile of the Biafra as well. And also, as we told you, the British new High Commissioner, Dr. Richard Montemongori, is now taking over from the face that we know before, our own little Katrina Lang. Katrina Lang have left Nigeria, and this is now going to be yours as well. Muhammadu Buhari here in the military outfit when he actually overthrown the government, then no longer the military, is now in Agbada. But as we know, so many people are going to be reviewing 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari in power, and the question is, has he done best? What is the situation with the Naira? Are you getting the money? Is the new Naira note working parallel to the old Naira note as they promised you before the December end of this year? Are you getting the money, or you are still hoping as well? Remember that Scotland also won the right to self-determination. It is not a crime. Also, there was an audio leak between the two, or should we say daddy and the son, Peter Obi, and one of the GOs. What is your take on that? We talked about Professor, does a professor? No. Payo Adebanjo believed that Nigeria can still work and the struggle continue. Nnamdi Kanu health is very, very concerned, and he must be released, just as we believe that he is having his fight. Is this too going to become the next president should the court overturn it, or is it going to be Atiku that is going to do so? Well, Buhari is currently in Saudi Arabia praying for Nigeria and hope that Nigeria will be able to work. We remember Yeye Lufe and the rest of people that have died. And on that final note, I say thank you so much to everyone that have joined us on the Starr Radio UK this morning. As I hand over to Archie back in the studio, I say join me again next week, Wednesday. And once again, this is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
In your car,
At work.
at home.
On your smartphone. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
In your car,
At work.
at home.
On your smartphone. The best radio show. The best radio show. The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
Ojuku Rukwata Abẹ́rẹ́ Rukwata
And we are back to the sister broadcast, which is called Koikimedia. We just come off from the Starr Radio UK, and I say thank you so much. I hope ìtàṣẹ́lálẹ̀ àwọnú etí yín lọ tó bá dẹ̀ ti wọnú etí yín ìtẹ̀ máa ṣe lélẹ̀ ilé ìtẹ̀ máa ṣe ilé ìtẹ̀ máa ṣe lọ́dẹ̀ tí mo tẹ̀ báyìí lọ́dẹ̀ báyìí kí n máa. Ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ máa ṣeré lé àgbàlagbà a máa ṣeré lé ọmọdé a máa ṣeré lé ẹ wá jẹ owó ẹ jẹ pẹpẹ ẹ jẹ àlùbọ́sà. I pray that you understand what I'm saying. I don't hate anybody. Why should I hate anybody? Ṣé mi mo dá yín tí máa ṣe é tì yín? Èmi kọ́ mo dá yín lẹ̀. Ṣé mi mo dá yín? I'm just telling you what is going to happen. You don't need to believe me. Let me change my energy. ń gbé sí energy mi tó dáa because èmi mọ energy tó wà ń ta nísìn ẹ̀yin lẹ̀ mọ energy tó wà níta ẹ̀yin tèmi lórí mixela mo kí lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí mo kí gbogbo èèyàn wa ẹja gbé sí energy tó dáa jàre ṣé kí n fún yín ní kí n kọ́kọ́ fún yín lórùn náà kó máa ta sí lójú mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ kan sí Yorùbá nation kò sẹ́ni tó lè dá dúró ẹ gbìyànjú ní ẹ lè dá dúró ẹ máa gbìyànjú ni kò ṣe dá dúró ni. It's been a long day as usual but this is what we do. Ntí àbá ti nífẹ̀ẹ́ tó bá ń ṣe ó máa dàbẹ́ tó ń la tọ́mtọ́m ni aláì ó máa dàbẹ́ tó ń la tọ́mtọ́m mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí pé a tún káàbọ̀ padà olóye pinky ni ìyàwó náà ń bẹ bí ló ti ṣe máa ń tọ́ kíní lórí broadcast bad habit ló ti mọ́ mi lára ni là ń ṣe sí báyìí mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí a very very welcome back mo kí everybody. I'll open the phone line if anybody wants to have one or two things to say. If not, about the 9 o'clock, we just shut the broadcast down. So, on a serious note, ẹni tó wọ London, ìyá Ìjẹ̀bú ló dárọ̀ yẹn lẹ̀ láàárọ̀ yìí. Mo náà ń tì mí kan, ìyá Ìjẹ̀bú ni máa ń pè wọ́n. Nígbà tó pè mí láàárọ̀ yìí, wọ́n náà àbúrò àwọn tó dé lórí skíìmù àwọn health worker wọ́n ń complain pé ìgbẹ́ tóun fọ̀ pé òun mọ̀ kó bó ṣe rí lélẹ̀. Báwo ló ṣe rò pé ó fi rí nígbà tó ń bọ̀ kí ló rò pé òun fi wá ṣe tẹ́lẹ̀? Ẹni tó ń bọ̀ labroad ṣẹlẹ̀ ẹ̀yin tẹ̀sẹ̀ dé ẹ̀yin tẹ̀sẹ̀ ń dé ọlọ́mọ ayẹ̀kẹ́ lọ sẹ́wọ̀n gbẹ̀yìn àdúrà ní gbà fún yín o ọlọ́mọ ajẹ̀kẹ́ rí ẹ̀wọ̀n yìí ọlọ́mọ ajẹ̀kẹ́ rí ẹ̀wọ̀n yìí I mean I'm advising those that get to UK or probably any other country around the world. I pray those of you that wants to get here will get here. Èmi náà láwọn tí mo fẹ́ kó jẹ́ kó dé bíbá but like I always say Koiki ò kì í ṣe visa agent kò dẹ̀ ń ṣe visa lottery kò ń ṣe visa I don't know anything about anything. Tó bá dé bíbá tó bá need advice màá direct ẹ lọ bá àwọn central office. Òkèbíọ̀run kan pè mí lẹ́ẹ̀kan Dr. Òkèbíọ̀run kò sí nígbà tí mo ṣe program á pè wọ́n padà ìmọ̀ tó fẹ́ bá mi sọ. Gbọ́ pé èèyàn kan bẹ́ẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ bó ṣe máa wọ London bó bá fún anybody lówó kódà bó fún àwọn ọmọ mi tó bá mi ṣiṣẹ́ lówó owó yẹn àti wà ó sanwó mú gọ̀ nìyẹn. Yorùbá nation mo gbé dání o Yorùbá nation but I have the right to talk about issues surrounding irú ti UK tí wọ́n ní àwọn ọ̀fẹ́ anybody ní access wọ́n ní kẹ́ má wà mọ́ UK ní ìrọ̀lẹ́ ń pa ẹ̀kọ́ ń kó family yìí wà ní bẹ́ẹ̀ ni part 2 lélẹ́yìí bàṣẹ́mà after 2.5 hours àtúpadà sórí tiwa part 2 ẹ má bínú pé lẹ́ẹ̀kan yẹn pé voice àti video yẹn kò line because software tẹ́mi fi ń project jáde ẹ̀ mọ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ tí wọn ni mo ti ń gbé signal so kí ló ń pọ̀ láti méjì bẹ́ẹ̀ ni nígbà tí èèyàn dé London tó ní òun wá fọ̀gbẹ́ ṣé o mọ̀ pé ìbẹ̀lú fún wa pọ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ kí ló rẹ̀ kó bá ṣe iṣẹ́ ọ́fíìsì ṣé ó rẹ̀ kó máa fa níṣẹ́ ní báǹkì nílùú yìí àwọn kan náà wọ opportunity ẹ̀ náà tó máa fi wọlé èèyàn kan dé ẹnìyàn tí lè lo 2 months ó ti ń complain ẹ̀wọ̀n ló máa kú sí Ọlọ́run tó bá kẹ́ fún because ó máa lọ ṣe tí ìlú ìbá iná bí Nàìjíríà ó ẹ gbọ́ mi dáadáa ìlú yìí iná bí Nàìjíríà ó wọ́n gbariwo sókè púpọ̀ ìbá iná bí Nàìjíríà ó UK ló ń pè bí o kò sí pé wọ́n mú ẹ wọ́n á pèèyàn kan pé ẹ bá mi pe Koiki wọ́n ṣe yẹn nílùú yìí o so bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń dé yẹn ẹ farabalẹ̀ sórí ẹ máa ń dí ọ̀ni ara táwọn tó máa ń ṣe motivational kiri máa ń sọ nìyẹn ọmọ ìlú ẹ̀ ní táìmù yẹn tí Nàìjíríà bá dà tó bá yẹ kó oríṣẹ́ Nàìjíríà tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ tó ń gba owó gidi kí ló máa ṣe London àwọn àǹtí ẹ̀ àtẹ̀mí táwà ní bíbá tá à ń sọ pé ìgbà tí sú wa fi padà wálé ẹni bẹ́ẹ̀ ni we are slaves everywhere so gbàtẹ́dẹ̀ náà ti fẹ́ lọ so ìwọ tó bá wá dé London tó dé bíbá ó máa farabalẹ̀ gidi ó máa farabalẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ẹ̀jẹ̀ máa wo Instagram náà ní bíbá ṣe ẹ máa farabalẹ̀ ní o ẹ má kánjú jọ lọ́hùn yín lọ o ìbá kò síbi kankan tó easy o ara ọ̀rọ̀ ẹdìyẹ ni ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀ o kò yẹ nísìn o ti dé London kọ́kọ́ dúpẹ́ fọ́lọ́run at least ìwọ náà ti kúrò nínú bondage Nàìjíríà kó wá farabalẹ̀ bọ̀kọ́ wa máa ń sọ pé iṣẹ́ kí àwọ̀ kàn yẹn o mọ̀ pé àwọn tó máa ń clean ìdí àgbàlagbà ìdí ọmọdé ló fẹ́ máa clean it's a job you know and it pays well òórùn yẹn o máa mú òórùn kò ẹbẹ máa ń lo mask ìyẹn máa ń lo mask náà òun àìpé máa gbé mú sí ìdí ìyẹn máa lo mask máa fi mask sí you know so and that's why government needs us here I mean not our tower níbà èmi ní option tó bá yẹ pé nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ ṣe ni màá ti ẹ̀rọ ti pẹ́ màá ti máa ṣe but ẹ hàn pé láì tèmi bá dé ìlú yìí hospitality nígbà tí mo wọnú ìlú yìí cause hotel ni mo sì ní náà fi ṣiṣẹ́ for a very long time kó tó di pé oríṣẹ́ ní House of Lords kó tó di pé ó retire on medical ground àbúrò mi yẹn nísìnyí so getting to UK you should be excited ó àrùn òun mo sọ pé ẹni yẹn máa rẹ́wọ̀n he ẹ̀gbọ́n tí mo sọ nísìnyí ó máa rẹ́wọ̀n he ni ó kọ́ ẹ̀ pé àwọn tó mú wá ló máa kó bá ni cause tí àjẹ̀bù fi sọ pé ó náà máa lọ wá ṣẹ́ mi iṣẹ́ òun ló fi lọ wá ṣé o mọ̀ pé scholarship tó fún un scholarship kọ́ ló ń pè kí ló ń pè scheme tó fi gbé ẹ débi báyìí ó lè jẹ́ 2 years contract lóní pẹ̀lú àwọn pípù yẹn tó bá kúrò níbẹ̀ má pé Koiki pé o ti get stock o cause ìyá máa jẹ́ ni because tó bá ti lè kúrò níbi iṣẹ́ yẹn wọ́n níbẹ̀ padà sponsorship má kúrò níbẹ̀ o ìwọ tó bá ṣẹ̀ dé náà tó ń gbọ́ mi o fẹ́ ra mọ́tò o fẹ́ sáré lọ́lé o fẹ́ lọ ra G-Wagon àwọn tó ra G-Wagon o mọ bí ètùtù kan ló ń ṣe tó fi lówó G-Wagon owó tó wà Nàìjíríà owó ẹ̀jẹ̀ ni blood money ti pọ̀ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ̀gbọ́n kan tí àwa gbé mi léègbé sọ I was working as a cleaner in the late 90s ìyẹn máa upgrade ni ẹ struggle 2 years òun pẹ́ 48 months ni púpúpúpúpúpú save owó sanwó lé má jẹ gbèsè sanwó ná sanwó internet má lọ jó àwọn kan wà má lọ bá wọn jókòó sí 805 o má lọ jókòó sí 805 àwọn kan wà ń bẹ àwọn yẹn ti pẹ́ sí ìlú yìí wọ́n lè mú bí i 300 níbẹ̀ wọ́n understand system and these are all the reasons why we say we want to get the hell out of the country ìyàwó Esther ni I wish I could get such a job wọ́n dẹ̀ ti close the scheme yẹn nísìn government ti close it red list ní Nigeria wà nísìn very very bad one so a lot of you don't have a job in Nigeria tó bá di 9 o'clock a máa parí ètò yìí so I can't even let relax àbúrò mi yẹn nísìn ta ló gbádùn program àárọ̀ yìí fire brand ní àárọ̀ yìí ṣẹlẹ̀ tí ẹ̀mú tó wà ń ta pẹ̀lú gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì Buhari tó ń lọ ẹ̀ pèsè tí Buhari gbé sílẹ̀ báyìí òun ló lọ lọ́nkàn yẹn ó dà pé máa ní láti ṣe program back to back lórí ẹ̀ kò ní jẹ́ lẹ́ẹ̀kan ni máa ṣe program yẹn ní tó bá ti mú mi tẹnu bọ̀ bí ẹ lè tá à ń lò yìí náà ni máa fi mo ní change topic a máa sọ̀rọ̀ surrounding Nigerian students ó lè ríṣẹ́ kò ń ṣèpè lórí ẹ̀mẹ́jàre Azeez ó lè ríṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run so ó lè ríṣẹ́ kò ń ṣe pé mo fẹ́ kó ríṣẹ́ àbí ó ṣe lè jẹ́ ọkùnrin tó jẹ́ age mate mi fẹ́ kó lè ríṣẹ́ náà iṣẹ́ kọ́ ni pé kíyàn máa mú ọ̀kadà if the system was working 40.6%. Ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Ṣẹ́gun ọ̀nà 40.6% yẹn mo need numbers yẹn àbí how many millions of Nigerians ni ẹ jẹ́ ẹ̀yin tẹ mọ mass ẹ sáré bá mi ẹ̀yin tẹ gbọ́ èmi mọ mass o ẹ sáré bá mi calculate ẹ̀ ìfẹ́ note it down so that ìyẹn ni mo máa fi ṣe tabula mi 40.6%. What is the number of that in millions? Youth ẹ̀yin ọ̀dọ́ ó fẹ́ di ìwọ náà fẹ́ blow bí portable wàá máa ṣe bí portable ni bàbá yẹn sán lórí gan mo wo àwọn fídíò ẹ̀kan tó ti ṣe nígbà tó ń ṣe EndSARS ó ti wà nígboro tipẹ́ portable kò ṣẹ̀ jáde ó ti wà look àwọn kan máa jáde tó máa tayọ tó gùn máa tayọ. But sometimes it come with problems, sometimes it might not come with problems. But we're talking about the whole system. I don't want 3 people to be showing it because the video fund 10 million or a motor fund. I want 300 people to be able to buy their own car without the video giving them the money. Mo fẹ́ kí wọ́n MC Olúọmọ fún ẹ lówó kó lọ sí Mecca. Why do you want fún ẹ lówó kó lọ sí Mecca? Ó yẹ kó lè ra sí Mecca fún ẹ. Àbọ̀rọ̀ mi yé nísìn. In that one penny, okay, mo send £500 selling it. That's if I have it safe. To about to the another 3 months, I took penny. Doesn't work like that. So they are putting on 40.6% also anything. Our Yoruba no one nínú. Kate sọ pé nínú 40.6% in the whole of the country. Kate sọ pé kakora mú díẹ̀. 5% of that is Yoruba people. Lẹ́ẹ̀níṣẹ́. Níṣẹ́ Buhari dẹ̀ ti jẹ gbèsè rẹpẹtẹ ti jẹ gbèsè yáwó níbi yáwó lọ́hùn mo kí ìyàwó comfort àwọn tó wà nínú health system nìyẹn midwife nurse kankan it's not an easy job. Some of our people, the new migrants, are very desperate. Wọ́n fẹ́ lọ gun jíwagàn ní mọ́mì wọ́n lọ gun jíwagàn tó bá dé Nàìjíríà kọ́ lọ ra Camry Big Daddy ló máa ń pe mọ́tò yẹn. Camry kọ́ dẹ̀ ra Lexus bí kan máa ń gun Lexus káàkiri nísìnyí gun Lexus nínú títí tó ṣiṣẹ́. So ẹyin tèmi ànírúbí bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ lálẹ́ polórí bíbá numbers la máa ń bá ṣiṣẹ́ statistics la máa ń bá ṣiṣẹ́ data la máa ń bá ṣiṣẹ́ èyí tí bá sọ nínú gbogbo tí mo sọ tó bá nírọ̀ ni mò ń pa ìwọ náà jókòó sórí Google kó type in wàá bá níbẹ̀. Èmi kọ́ ni mo kọ átíkù yẹn, èmi kọ́ mo sọ. Ní 20 according to ti KABIRU sọ yẹn, as at 2014, about 17 million Nigerians out of job. Until all they expect me, but normally in a normal society, if a country is working, 5 million is a gift from MC Olúọmọ. And for you, and offering the Mecca. Kill me, offering the Mecca. The one she share wa lọ Mecca, wa lọ Jerusalem, wa lọ Sa, wa lọ anywhere ba wọn. It is what it is. It is what it is. Oh, we're painful gan, but what can we do? We can only continue to encourage those of you. So, tí yàn bá lówó lọ́wọ́, àwa mọ̀ yẹn wọ́n jọ́njẹ́ ọ̀tẹ́ ni wọ́n á ẹ̀mí ọ̀jọ́njẹ́ ọ̀tẹ́ lówó lọ́wọ́. Nítorí láìkò owó náà máa ń rùn ṣàánú. Láìkò owó yẹn, wọ́n ní láti fọwọ́ mi tí bá ṣe tán nísìn. Tí bá lọ Nàìjíríà, lè ní wọ́n fi ń fọwọ́ kan owó. Owó fi sínú bra, fi sínú pátá, fi sínú ìdí, fi sínú ṣòkòtò. Á fún ẹ ní ìní báyìí wọn. A lè gbé, a fẹ́ gbé ìgbóló ìkẹ́. So 40.6% is 0.4. Okay, so ká tẹ̀ sọ pé ẹ̀bùn ní millions mélòó ní ẹ̀ máa jẹ́ in terms of millions so that ìyẹn la so ká sọ pé 5% of 40.6 ní fún ti Yorùbá àbí ṣé ó kéré àbó pọ̀ 5%. Then how many millions la máa rí nínú 5% yẹn so that ẹ̀yin ṣe àǹfààní àwọn Yorùbá làwọn target so target àwọn Igbo àtàwùsá àti ẹ̀yà tó kù ẹ̀yin Yorùbá ń fẹ́ máa bá sọ̀rọ̀ so that means 5% of Yorùbá people do not have a job and you are not gonna just get job in this year so ìgbà tí wọ́n pariwo pé APC ṣé wọ́n fún yín níṣẹ́ mo kì í sà Mr. Adewusi olówólabí 11 minutes and we're gonna check out. Reason that you máa ń fún yín ní calm down yẹn ni pé so that ẹ̀yin náà lè ní idea pé ètò ètò wind down. That's what media does, calm down. So in 11 minutes I'm gonna wind down. Mr. Tony Cole Mukinsa. So bẹ́ẹ̀ gbọ́ àwọn onídákẹ́ a máa kọrin sí létí. Ẹ máa fi orin yẹn má dàbí orin Wàsíù ó máa wọ etí yín. Because if a country that cannot provide a job, the debt is going up. So can you hope within the next 4 years? Àkọ́kọ́ mo máa sọ fún yín pé kódà but ó yẹ kí gbogbo àjọ dáwọ́ bò ní, especially those of you that are still supporting all these political parties. I see your comment and I go and look at your page and I cry for a lot of you. Some of you I know only contractor here. There's not one basic contractor or construction. Ìbílẹ̀ kan lọ́nà tó dà wọ́n ní Banana Island àbí Banana àbí Bọ́lẹ̀ pé another 3-story building. People are trapped in there. Too many cut corners. Onímọ́tò ò service ẹ̀ dáadáa, ó ló máa pa ẹ̀. Mọ́tò tó ń wà àti tí ó ń wà lẹ́yìn ẹ̀ tí ẹ̀ service ẹ̀. Tó bá l'accident kò ń ṣe ikú Ọlọ́run, ikú èèyàn ni. Irú àwọn ìyá wa nísìn, ìyá wa comfort nísìn, wọ́n ti mọ̀ gbà tí mọ́tò wọn máa deal láti tá a bá ti fẹ́ lọ làwọn èèyàn máa wá pè a máa push in because mo fẹ́ kó deny okay àwọn èèyàn send message ni. Prince you send message ni àwọn fẹ́ pè mí. Open letter of indictment to retired General Obasanjo. Ti rí lẹ́tà yẹn mo ní láti kà. Àwọn Yorùbá akọ̀wé ju kí ló dálẹ̀ lọ. Ààrẹ Karùn-ún Kakanfò. Okay. Nǹkan ti sẹ́ndẹ̀ sí mi tí ìráyè látẹ̀kọ́. So mo kí gbogbo ọlẹ́ǹkan sí o. Ọlọ́run ọba Elédùmarè wá wà pẹ̀lú wa o. Okay. Bàbá mi Olúwa tóbi sí ti bá mi break it down. So 5% of 84 million population is 4.2 million. And now your mamas, check for that mass lesson in school. So 4.2 million Yorubas are out of job. Shit, 4.2 million Yorubas. Sure. Mo lè àbí àmọ́. Sure. Àlà ṣe máa ṣọ̀rọ̀ yìí báyìí. Ṣé Tinubu máa ráyè fún níṣẹ́ báyìí tó bá wọlé báyìí? Ẹgbẹ̀rin 4.2 million yìí. Ẹ ṣé gan ni fún breakdown yẹn, really appreciate. So 4.2 million Yorubas níṣẹ́. Nínú pé oníṣẹ́ náà ó tún bá ọmọ kan sùn ládùúgbò. Ó kì í mọ́lẹ̀ lálálẹ́. 4.2 million Yorubas. Ẹ ṣé gan ni. Mr. Oluwatobi Oluwaṣẹ́sí. 4.2 million Yorubas bí ṣe máa ń sọ̀rọ̀ níṣẹ́. 4.2 million. Kò dẹ̀ sí state tí kò wà affected, kò sí local government tí kò wà affected, títí dé tọ̀dọ̀ tèmi náà ní Ìjẹ̀bú Òde ní Fìdípọ̀tẹ̀. Olúkálùkù kàn ń jẹra wọn lẹ́sẹ̀ ni. Ìwà gbéṣẹ́ fún yàn nísìn, àwọn ọmọ ṣe máa jẹ. Ẹ bá wa kọ́lé mẹ́rin nísìn, wọ́n máa reduce cement orí ẹ̀. Ẹ bá ní kọ́ bá yín kọ́lé Nàìjíríà nísìn. 10 bags lẹ́ máa nídìí alájà. 7 bags lọ́ máa lò. Ilé ẹ̀ máa crack in after 3 years. A lot of people are worse off. 4.2 million. That's a very, very staggering number. I'm sure kò jù yẹn lọ bọ̀ kákọ̀ máa work. So number ìlànà máa work pẹ̀lú. 4.2 million Yoruba people are out of jobs. Ṣé n tí bàbá kí tó yẹn fight fún kọ́ nìyẹn? Ṣé n tí Ìgbòho ń jà fún kọ́ nìyẹn? Ṣé àwọn ọmọ Ìgbòho wà Nàìjíríà tí wọ́n lè ríṣẹ́ níbi tó wà? Mo kí ìyàwó Sekinat. So àwọn èrè jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ náà bá àwọn kan ṣe ń ṣe program náà. Yorùbá World Media will not sure whether they are out tonight, but tó dà pé mo rí the other platform náà tó ń ṣe program. So ẹ kébì náà lọ ká lọ fẹ̀gbẹ́ lílẹ̀. Kébì náà lọ wà lórí Twitter. Mo ì tí lè comment because Facebook ti block wa a ṣe ní 4 days. I love to read the comment, máa ń ka comment gan because I learn and gain a lot from you guys, you know, taban post. That's why our platform is different from all the platforms. The Balawo platform. 24 hours ni. Tell me about post, tell me about some of post. Every day we are posting to engage the Biafra, the Amara Hosana Nibe, different Edo, different. I can tell from their comments, Oloshi, Ole, Owo Yoruba Nation, Toko Jeda, Ibulo, different things. You know, so I just laugh. So I read all the comments, but I can't write reply because Facebook don't remove. Lórí Koiki, wọ́n jẹ́ ká comment. Koiki Odùduwà, wọ́n jẹ́ kí comment. Koiki Odùduwà page wa mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta. wọ́n ní mo lè máa post but a lè comment Facebook ti ya wèrè mo kí ìyàwó ayẹyẹ títí so mo ní rí jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ struggle continue fẹ́yìn tẹ́ wà ń lé struggle continue fáwọn àtàwọn àǹtà we are all Pythagoras like orúkọ yẹn ṣé mọ́tò lẹ́ńtà Pythagoras _autos 4.2 million people ẹ kàn ń sùn ẹnjìnì and just wait for one miracle kó ṣẹlẹ̀ báwo ni miracle yẹn pé àmì bọ́ọ̀lù àti kẹra mi ní láti lọ rest it's been a long day so mo kí gbogbo lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí o ẹ já gbọ́ Òṣùpá àti Ìgbòho lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí in just 5 minutes way ending the program then I'm gonna ó dà pé lè ní new ringtone wa Ìgbòho àti Òṣùpá yìí jẹ́ kọ́ mọ̀ yẹn jì ní ringtone wa tó popular but ringtone ilé ní sinmi wẹ́ kó ó máa ń tàyàn ní o má lọ Ìgbòho ni wọ́n á ta ẹ́. Ó ṣàfihàn. Atayo máa fojú kó máa tẹ́ ọ mú kí ìyàwó Sarah orí lọ́wọ́ mú kí ìgbọ̀nyìn grandma àtẹ̀yìn grandfather mú kẹ́yìn ẹ̀gbọ́n mi o ẹja tó gbọ́ gbòòrò lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí ká tó máa lọ. Oh, 1 million Fulani wọn bí dákúdá dúró bí ṣe wà. Ìjayà federal government, ìjayà Tinubu, ìjayà Bode George, ìjayà everybody. Ó dẹ̀ ní respect tó bí ṣe wà yẹn. Look everybody o, this country is nothing but a mess ajé ẹ bá rọ̀ another word fún mess kẹ bá mi lò. Shalom bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ìyá mi. Ó tún dọ̀la lágbára Ọlọ́run. Mo lè give time as usual ẹ má bínú I love to give it time pé bó ṣe àmọ̀ pé máa jáde níjọ́ kan tí bá ti go silent for a few days so I'm back out again tomorrow lágbára Elédùmarè one love may Nigeria not happen to us ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wá lé things will get better not in Nigeria but gbogbo n tó máa erupt in Nigeria ń súnmọ́ bọ̀ díẹ̀díẹ̀ a gbọ́dọ̀ má lọ ká má play we don see gbogbo kò sọgbọ́n ẹ̀. Mo fẹ́ kàdélẹ̀ ni o. Ìwọ ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀. Àwa ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀. Báwo la ṣe dì mọ́lẹ̀ tàbá sì wà ní òkùnkùn ó kù sí ìmọ̀tẹ́ lọ́wọ́. Orin ọ̀la máa sun. Love you all. Bye for now.
Life is so funny. You come with nothing, then fight for everything, and later leave everything and go back with empty hand. God is powerful.
Koikimedia, bringing the world closer to your doorstep. Bye for now.